Stephen Hauschka set to kick off. We've waited a long time for Monday night to return here. 10 years at New Era Field. 45-year-old NFL stadium. Originally Rich Stadium, then Ralph Wilson, and now packed with over 71,000 as New Era Field, as the mighty Pats have come here again. And the Bills Mafia knows all about this guy. They like table crashing at their tailgates. Let me tell you, Tom Brady's done some of that up here. 28 wins against the Bills, the most by any quarterback against one team in NFL history. And 14 of those wins at New Era Field, most by any visiting quarterback at one venue in NFL history.
The thought of Brady coming off in an RV. I don't think we're going to see that, but this Buffalo defense, they need to put a lot of different pressure on him, inside and out, and then switch up their coverages because he has a lot of answers.
By the way, look who's in the backfield. Cordero Patterson playing running back. And also on the field, Josh Gordon, who, as was reported earlier by the NFL Network, expected to be disciplined tonight for tardiness. But here he is out there starting. The Patriots would not confirm or deny with us the disciplinary measures that were discussed this afternoon. And now James White flanking Tom Brady. 2nd and 5. As Gronkowski back home here in Buffalo. Remember, he missed last week's game with back spasms, covered by Philip Gaines. It'll be 3rd and 5.
You know, that's interesting to see. They put Rob Gronkowski as the single receiver on the outside there, and they put Gaines, covered him really essentially man-to-man. That's a matchup they must feel confident that these corners can match up against Gronkowski.
Yeah, Whit, and remember last year it was Tre'Davious White. This year it's Gaines. They're probably going to put a smaller, more shiftier guy on Gronkowski.
Third and 5. Brady quickly gets it to the reliable James White for a first down.
And he's been his favorite weapon, really, out of the backfield, what James White's been able to do. And that's the matchup. So out there, we're going against Lorenzo Alexander, former defensive lineman. James White's so good in space. And as I said earlier, Tom Brady trusts him.
Patterson again in the I formation ahead of the fullback James Devlin, the 228-pound receiver and return man. And knifing into the backfield that time was Matt Milano. What a play by Milano.
Milano really just shot that gap. He's going to a zone read. There he is at the top of inside there. They're going with a nice zone read with the fullback leading inside. And Brown, the left tackle, could just not climb in there. Good job by Milano to see it, understand that there's a zone scheme, and to shoot the gap before Brown could get to him.
Played his college ball just up the road from Foxborough at Boston College. Second and 14. Looks one way to White. Comes back to the right and just grounds it at the feet of Barner. Now the Patriots up front. David Andrews is in the middle. The undrafted free agent who all he did is turn into a team captain within 3 years. We told you about the difference that Josh Gordon has made in recent weeks. Last week in Chicago was masterful, including that 4th and 1 that you detailed earlier tonight. Whit?
Oh, James White is a guy that creates mismatches for him. But now when they get behind the chains, that plays into Buffalo's hands. They can play soft coverage. They've done that most of this season on 3rd down.
3rd and 14 for Brady. Looking for Gordon. And Gordon unable to come up with it as Tre'Davious White was staying with him. A little bit of pressure from Kyle Williams on Brady.
Yeah, Tom had that matchup. I think Josh should have made that play. Good release. He's stemming it, going vertical. Tre'Davious White, he had a step on him, Josh Gordon. It looked like he lost the ball at the end. And Kyle Williams coming around the backside, putting pressure on Tom Brady. But Josh Gordon's got to make that play on 3rd down.
Well, the lefty from Louisiana Tech, Ryan Allen, on to punt away. And takes a bounce inside the 30. Milano and that Bills defense did their job in that first series against the Pats. There's 35-year-old Derek Anderson, who was on a golf course just over 3 weeks ago when he got a call asking if he wants to play for the Bills. Well, you know about his career. Drafted by the Ravens, was cut before the season, made the Pro Bowl with the Browns, started 34 games, a year with the Cardinals, and then Cam Newton's back up for 7 seasons. And then came the call. From golfing to now being the starter, Derek Anderson signed on October 9th.
Yeah, Joe, and he said last week it was a disaster out there on the field for him. And that's what you would expect with 3 practices. And now he comes into this one with only 6 practices. But the formula for this Bills offense is run, run, run the football. And their 2 wins, they've carried the ball either 38 times and 43 times. That's the formula. And the other thing to that, it keeps Tom Brady and that offensive weapons for New England on the sideline.
See that line from Kelvin Benjamin, his receiver, as he's going to split out here as they're going with the direct snap now to Shady McCoy. As they run him to the near side, look at McCoy straight ahead for 13 yards.
And that's exactly what the Buffalo Bills have to do. Do different shifts and motions and give it to Shady McCoy. Playing from the backfield just allows him. He has really good quickness, even at 30 years old where he's at. Played against him when he was in Philadelphia. Really quick and allows him to hit the hole.
McCoy was in concussion protocol all week. He left last week's game against the Colts after taking a hit. Here's Anderson. His first pass of the night is complete to Zay Jones.
And that's good to see that they get a completion early, just a quick out route to Zay Jones. You're Derek Anderson. I really think you got to feel relieved. Cut it loose tonight. You know, you were playing golf, as you mentioned 3 weeks ago. Cut it loose. Nobody expects you to win this game. There's no pressure on you. The franchise is not yours. You're here to just fill it for a few weeks, be a mentor, cut it loose, and let it fly.
And of course, Josh Allen, the prized rookie, the first rounder, injured his right elbow a couple weeks ago. They're going to split him out again. And now Chris Ivory's going to take the direct snap, run a little option with McCoy, and go straight ahead for a first down. And remember who the play caller is, Brian Dable, who spent 11 years on Bill Belichick's Patriots staff. He's the play caller here now in Buffalo.
And I think he understands how to attack this New England defense. And one thing you guys need to pay attention to, they need to run the ball. If they're going to run it, they have to block number 90, Malcolm Brown. He's the nose tackle. He's the centerpiece of this Patriots run defense.
Look at this formation as they're doing it again. Full backfield with McCoy. Blockers in front. You know, Dable was with Nick Saban as the play caller at Alabama last year. I feel like I'm watching college football right now watching the Bills.
Well, that's the formula. I mean, Brian understands that's what he's going to have to do. You're going to see there he's going to have him a lead blocker in his fullback. And McCoy likes just getting the ball quickly in his hands and doing it. Look, a couple weeks ago, Kansas City, they didn't play this type of offense, but they did a lot of those different things and gave New England's defense some trouble with the fly sweeps, faking that with the big throws over top. I think we're going to see some of that tonight.
Anderson back at quarterback here on 2nd and 9. And they run a reverse, a flea flicker. Anderson cranks it up downfield, but beyond the intended target, Charles Clay.
Well, this is what you have to do, Joe. Anytime you're a big underdog, offensively, you're not as talented. You have to come up with different things. You have to find new wrinkles. We see the Wildcat. Now you see a little fake reverse toss back to the quarterback, and now he's trying to hit the tight end, Charles Clay. They realize they are an underdog tonight, so they're trying to force the tempo and force the issue, and I love it.
But Patrick Chung was in really good coverage, and that goes to, you saw Bill Belichick there with the notepad, taking notes. He knew that. He knows that Buffalo's an underdog, and they have to do something outside of their normal system.
3rd down and 9. Nothing exotic here. It's on Anderson, and it's too high. He was looking for 6'5" Kelvin Benjamin.
It was really good pressure there by Kyle Vanoy, who's really a do-it-all linebacker for New England. He rushes, he drops in coverage. That time he blitzes. Really, really good pressure by him. Beating the guard, sugaring the guard now, just finding the space inside and getting pressure on Derek Anderson. They're going to have to block it up because Anderson needs a little time to throw in the pocket.
So Edelman setting up shop just inside the 10. Corey Bojorquez, who was signed by Buffalo earlier this season, spent training camp with the Patriots. The punter for the Bills as he puts it into the end zone. I guess all we needed was the wishbone to win offensive formation bingo from the Bills. Partner, let me know if you need directions to next week's Monday Night Football. We're going to be in Arlington, Texas. Marcus Mariota and the Titans against Zeke and the Cowboys. And coverage, of course, will begin with Monday Night Countdown and Susie and the gang at 6 Eastern. Both those teams were on a bye this week. Both have 3-4 records. Titans have been playing close games. Here's Brady on first down as he's able to get it to James White. Reminder, of course, that Sony Michel, the rookie running back, left last week's game against the Bears with a knee injury. Didn't make the trip here. We've already seen Patterson, Cordell Patterson in the backfield, who had 2 rushes earlier tonight. 2nd and 5, underneath and complete to Edelman. He goes ahead for 11.
And Tess, because Michel's out, he was such a big part of their offense running the ball. I think this next series here, this second series we're seeing for New England, both of those plays have been out of empty. Hurry up, up-tempo offense, and leaning on their passing attack.
As they do here, as he goes to James White. He's so reliable and so consistent as a playmaker is White. Defense up front. We've already seen the pressure from Kyle Williams. The linebackers with the 20-year-old Edmonds in the middle and Milano, who's already made an impact. And then Tre'Davious White, their best defensive back, locking down one of the corner spots. 2nd and 1. Quickly, it's White again. And just like that, with a stiff arm, another 6 yards as he was finally ridden down by Edmonds.
And they treat that like a screen pass there. Edelman with a nice cut block on Milano, the linebacker. And that ability to do that, getting in the hurry up. You can see Edelman. It's a screen. Just throws his body on there, allowing White to get on the edge. And Tom's in control.
And tempo again with a man in his face. It is batted before it could get to Gronkowski. That was Edmonds, who's 6'5" as a middle linebacker.
And that's what they love about him. Rangy, tall, athletic. Tom Brady said it's zone coverage. Brady sees him. He's going to try to get the ball over top of him. Edmonds says, you know what? I'm 6'5". I can get up, and I can keep the ball from Rob Gronkowski.
And he really mistimed his jump, or it would have been an interception. He's a young player. He had the perfect scheme there. Tampa 2, that he's got that middle hook. He should have made that play.
You're absolutely right. He got that on the way down. 2nd and 10. The slant this time complete to Gordon. It'll be 3rd and short for the Pats.
That right there looks like a simple, easy play. Just throwing a slant to the single receiver. They've done that, and Tom could do it in his sleep. But that's what Josh Gordon brings to this offense. The outside. Every really good offense at some point has to short. They can widen the field and have a playmaker on the outside. When you just work the inside, it's just dink and dunk. It gets real cloudy in there. And Josh brings that dimension on the outside for this offense.
Third and 2. Here's Edelman off the pitch. Brady got leveled. Pats are going to move the chains.
You know, Brady did get leveled, but I mean, what effort by this guy. 19 years, 5 Super Bowl rings, going against Lorenzo Alexander. He picks around. Lorenzo picks up. If Brady doesn't make that block, Alexander makes that tackle. So that's what Brady's all about. It's incredible to see.
41 years old and a willingness, has a love for the game. Incomplete. He's a little low, looking for Josh Gordon. We had a great conversation with Tom just about that last night.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so joyful. He loves playing football. You know, he goes, my passion for the game right now is as high as it's ever been. Takes care of his body. And, you know, Joe, he's playing better at 41. He looks better at 41. He's a better athlete at 41. He's playing at an extremely high level.
9th play of this drive. 2nd and 10. And As he goes to White, and White so slithery and capable and hits that gear again. Another first down for the pass.
James White just understands where he needs to get in the zone. This is a play-action pass. Tom really wants to stretch the ball down the field. Gets a little pressure in his face, and James is always his outlet, and then he's dangerous with the run after catch. But going back to Tom Brady, I really mean it. I mean, you think of him at 25, 26 years old compared to where he is now. I mean, he's just crushing Father Time in a sport that waits on no man.
Patterson into the backfield again on first down. As we're going to have a timeout used by Buffalo.
It's interesting to see with this Buffalo defense. Statistically, they're in the top 10 in almost every category, but they're bend, don't break. They're going to play that soft zone and force you to drive the field, throw it underneath, just like we've seen from New England on this possession. But Tom Brady's on the other side.
That's right.
He yawns at that. He'll
Yeah.
take a dump down, hit his tight end, hit Edelman, take a shot every once in a while. So if Buffalo, that's okay to take that mindset, but at some point, you know that you have to get turnovers, and that's going to come from pressure inside the pocket.
Defensive coordinator for the Bills, Booger, is Leslie Frazier. Of course, you overlapped with him in Indy.
Yeah, and that's the type of defense he likes to play. You know, Sean McDermott comes from the Jimmy Johnson tree. They love to pressure. They love to bring blitzes, exotic looks. So it's a give and take between Leslie Frazier and the head coach, Sean McDermott. Although I do think when they get down in the red zone, they're going to start to bring a little bit more pressure, guys.
I'm surprised, Boog, that they haven't ran much pressure so far.
First down as he goes back to Edelman on the near side.
And that's what Tom's going to do. He's just going to dump it out, 5-yard out routes underneath the White, and just go the distance on these drives if you play that soft coverage. And I just don't think you can play that type of way with going against him, because he has so much trust and confidence in his receivers, and they're up to speed on where the soft spots are on these coverages. Keep an eye on Gordon at the top of the screen there. That's a matchup down in the red zone.
Instead, it's Patterson's third carry of the night as he makes his way to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, you know, Patterson running the ball. They only have 2 running backs active tonight, James White and Kenyon Bonner. And Bonner hasn't been here long. So it's really no surprise that the New England Patriots are being innovative. Cordero Patterson in the backfield. He's a big, stocky wide receiver. Let's do like Green Bay. They have Ty Montgomery. New England has Cordero Patterson.
And the big reason is they want to keep James White fresh because he's such a dynamic receiver for them.
First and goal. And this time he was met. He had to shuffle his way just to get maybe a half a yard there.
And it'll be interesting to see how much that plays out with Patterson, because he just doesn't look very comfortable back there. And you know, I understand he doesn't.
He's only had 5 snaps coming into this game this season in the backfield, and being worked now with his 4th rush already here.
Yeah, I don't know many receivers that be comfortable playing tailback in this environment.
13th play of the drive, a 2nd and goal, empty set.
And they're playing zone coverage, so Tom's going to have time to work underneath on these throws.
Flag is down. Ball comes out, bounced around, and then it appears as if David Andrews fell on it.
Illegal formation, offense. The left tackle was left uncovered on the inner line of scrimmage. This penalty is declined. 3rd down.
You don't see the Patriots offense, and really their team in general, have penalties in the red zone. It just doesn't happen.
It was just unbelievable effort from Alexander in the last play. But now you have 3rd down. The Bills Mafia is alive. The fans are going wild. Can the Bills defense get off on 3rd down?
James White out of the backfield. He's a weapon when they play zone coverage underneath, because usually he gets the single coverage.
3rd and goal. Incomplete, as Gronk was covered by Matt Milano.
Good eyes by Matt Milano. When you play that zone, you're able to spot up in the end zone, and look, your eyes are on the quarterback. You can see him there. He turns, he looks back. In that situation, because he knows he has help over the top. And good job by the young player Milano of getting his eyes back to Tom Brady, knowing that he was coming there and making a play on the ball.
It's only the second time that Gronk has been targeted in the red zone this year. He doesn't have a reception in the red zone this year. Gostkowski now 10 for 10 inside of 40 as he hits the short 25-yarder and the pass go up 3-zip. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. As tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. It's a nice night here in Orchard Park, New York. The Bills' last home win on Monday Night Football was all the way back in 1994. Patriots had first and goal at the Buffalo 6 and had to settle for a field goal. Here's Marcus Murphy on the return for the Bills. As he's tripped, the ball came out. And the Patriots look to have fallen on it. That was Nate Ebner who fell on it. Let's take a
on the
look.
field is a fumble recovered by the kicking team. First down, New England.
Was he down?
We got a challenge there. It looks like he's down there, Tess. Yeah, he's
Saw
down.
Grigsby come in. Let's see here.
The previous play is under review.
Yep, you see that forearm on the turf. Take a short break while they take a peek at this. Be right back. Belichick, Sean McDermott just heard the review that Murphy was down by contact. So Bills ball at the 22. There's Murphy, former running back at Mizzou.
It's a good break for the Bills. They cannot afford to turn the ball over going against a team like New England.
See how varied they look on offense on this series. As they go with McCoy, looking to bounce it to the outside, then try to reverse field. Instead, he's going to lose yardage that time.
On the first series, they went to the Wildcat. The Wildcat is back. The lead blocker inside, and he has the quickness to do it. And then Ivory, his turn at the Wildcat. And all they're doing there is just trying to get to the ball in the playmaker's hands. You see there the flea flicker, trying to sneak one back behind there. Tight end Charles Clay. Good coverage by Chung, but give Dable credit. He understands he has to think outside the box and he has to attack with the running game.
Don't want to get behind the chains though.
He's got McCoy.
And there he is. Reaching out for it was Shady McCoy. As he got caught up with Kyle Van Noy, 24-yard reception.
That's a really good call, understanding that he's getting him on the wheel route, and because they pass it off with a little bit of a pick. Van Noy, he is versatile. Boog, you talked about that earlier in the game, but he's not great in space, right? He really wants to be on the edge of the line as defensive end. He can drop in coverage, but that was really a pick route. And we're going to talk about that. We talked about in the game open of what they do. Good execution on that play.
Wasting no time going back to the exotic stuff as they'll go with that full backfield. And McCoy looks a little troubled. And as you saw him staring over and the play clock was running down, a little bit of confusion. But this is what we've seen from Brian Dable, the play caller, early on here. Remember the unique circumstances with Buffalo when it comes to the quarterback position. And there is Josh Allen, the rookie from Wyoming, the number 7 overall pick. He's nursing an elbow injury. He suffered a sprained UCL in his right elbow. He was hit in the Week 6 loss to the Texans. He was in some obvious pain and then went and played the next play before being replaced by Nathan Peterman. And they've been listing him as week to week, but now he has missed their last 2 games.
We saw him at practice. He's taking notes there. I mean, he was in behind the group, running like a little bit of like a scout team practice reps for him.
Here's McCoy again. Look at the way he's holding that ball as he's tackled for a loss again. That was a great-looking play by Trey Flowers, who has been so active from that defensive end position for the Pats.
And when you talk about their guys up front, Trey Flowers is probably their most productive defensive lineman. Does a really nice job fighting off the block against Clay, one-on-one. Now it takes down Shady McCoy. Just look at that. Technique and fundamentals. I'll come inside. He's in that 6 technique. He's got the inside gap. Really nice job of pressing the tight end and playing inside.
They're a 2-gap scheme, Bug, and that's what makes it so difficult because Shady's dancing around back there. He just needs to hit it.
Yeah.
2nd and 13. Anderson batted at the line of scrimmage, and that was Flowers again.
It's tricky for Shady in that situation because he's trying to make some plays and that wildcat and understanding. And then you're going to see here Flowers. They try to get a quick cut block. Getting his hands up there. Really probably should have picked that one. But their awareness. I mean, big defensive ends understanding that the tackles come to cut block them to avoid that cut and get their arms up.
Here's a problem when the tackle's lying flat on the ground and the defensive end is standing up after you attempt a cut block.
That's a lonely feeling. I've been there as an offensive lineman, tight end. Hey, just get his hands down. Go cut him real quick. Then you're sitting there with your helmet right in the turf.
3rd and 13. Anderson, what can he come up with? That's going to be short of the line to make. They're only getting 7 on that as he goes to Charles Clay.
You know, I understand the Patriots, the Bills came out, and they're doing some different things out of the Wildcat. But if they're going to win this game tonight, Derek Anderson is going to have to drop back and throw the football down the field. The Wildcat will give you some surprise plays, but in order to beat the Patriots, your quarterback is going to have to complete the football down the field.
I don't think they can bank on that, though. I mean, they got to run the football, get them. What hurt them there was they had negative runs with Shady.
Yeah, getting into those 2nd and 13s and having to get out of it. So Bojorquez back out to punt again. As Edelman will call for the scatter, and will this stay there? Diving for it, but unable to come up with it was Andre Holmes. Tom Brady, 90 career road wins, an NFL record. Back out there when we come back. There's that guy that's part of the 500 touchdown pass club. Tom Brady. As White goes ahead for about 2.5. Well, 41 years old, but we'll take you back in time with Tom Brady. How about these high school photos, Wittenberg?
Classic.
There's the sophomore, junior, and senior photos with the senior quote. If you want to play with the big boys, you got to learn how to play in the tall grass. I think he learned.
He really did learn. I love that sophomore photo. Came a long way, man. Tom Brady's came a long way.
2nd and 7. Threw it behind James White. It'll be 3rd down.
You know, the thing I admire about Tom Brady the most, he wasn't the guy that was drafted in the 1st round. He's a self-made superstar. Understand, he knew who he was. He worked on his throwing motion. He worked on his body. And now he's playing at over 40 years old with this TB12 method. That's the thing I admire about him the most.
And here he's got a 3rd and long situation. They're going to go empty to spread it out. It's interesting because Gronkowski's not on the field. They got these receivers and going to try to use their speed on these linebackers underneath.
3rd and 7. Brady able to escape and run ahead for the 1st down.
Wow.
How about the wheels out of Tom Brady, who goes for 8 yards on 3rd and 7.
You know, I know he's not moving at high speed, but really, at 41 years old, he's doing a better job. A couple weeks ago, he had the play where he dove in for the touchdown. He's so comfortable in the pocket. He's not looking to escape like a lot of these young quarterbacks are. He stands high with nice bend in there with his knees, and he just has lateral ability to go side to side and then find the lanes. He does that often.
That was a few weeks ago. He had that head-first dive in the touchdown run against Kansas City. You know, of all the accolades and great stats of Tom Brady, we may have a unique one tonight as he goes ahead and runs for 8 yards, which means he's 3 rushing yards away from being a 1,000-yard rusher, pause, in his career. In his career. 19 seasons in, he's 3 rushing yards away from having 1,000 career rushing yards.
Yeah, look, when you list the strengths for Tom Brady, you know, the athleticism to be able to be a straight line runner, that's not at the top of the list. But, you know, and I know the pliability and all that's played a big role into it. But when I say he's done it often, what I'm meaning is he just has an awareness for where the first down is. And whether that's 3 yards, 7 yards, what he did in Kansas City a couple weeks ago, where he dives in for the touchdown, he just has good awareness to keep drives going using his legs.
Tom's had a lot of fun with that 1,000-yard mark, has been counting it down on his Instagram page.
He'll have some fun with that.
As Edmonds makes the tackle, and we come to the end of this first quarter. Great atmosphere here in Buffalo. Just a field goal on the board as it stands now. The end of one on Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football in Buffalo, New York. Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters with you. Patriots start the second quarter with a field goal lead. Brady in stride, and there's Hogan.
Good call by Josh McDaniels, bringing Edelman back in there for like a quick motion. It's the play fake, though. Eventually, you're going to see him. Watch Tom Brady in this situation. Quick play fake, pull the guard. And there it is. It's called trap pass because their #1 run is the one-back power where they pull the backside guard. And Rob Gronkowski is the guy that's featured on that play a lot. They're changing it up, putting Rob Gronkowski on the single receiver side, and Hogan with the big catch.
Brady, as he burned that back to the left side.
Tom thought he had his running back right there, and I don't think he did.
McDermott and the Bills in the roar of these fans looking for the flag, as they're going to discuss it here.
There's no intentional grounding on the play. The quarterback was outside the pocket and got the pass beyond the line of scrimmage. Second down.
So they say he got out of that tackle box, and it went beyond the line of scrimmage. Patriots riding that 4-game win streak. Of course, dealing with some injuries. Sony Michel and Marcus Cannon and Dante Hightower out with a knee tonight.
Another play action, trying to get outside there, but Tom knows exactly where the line of scrimmage was there and getting it across.
And flags rain in. Yeah, so there's some
False
movement.
start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Now, we just mentioned that Marcus Cannon, the right tackle who missed last week's game as well with a concussion, out tonight. Adrian Waddle, 2 straight starts now. That is number 68. Penalty was on him. First penalty of the game.
And you got to give Buffalo defense a lot of credit. They forced this New England offense in some negative down and distance. Holding them to 3 points on that previous drive. Now here, doing the same thing. Don't let them get these big chunks if you're Buffalo's defense.
There is Edelman. Easy pitch and catch from Brady for 18 yards.
And the Patriots are just attacking the middle of the field, the play action. We mentioned the young middle linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, for the Buffalo Bills. Understand this, when you're a young middle linebacker, you want to be aggressive, you want to come up and play the run. Right now, the New England Patriots and Tom Brady are taking advantage of Edmonds coming up on the play action, and they're getting the ball across the middle of the field.
But they had him in 2nd and long, and they played man-to-man coverage. With that play action, those linebackers going to suck up, and it's hard for Philip Gaines to cover it that long.
As Barner is chopped down. He's 20 years old, is Edmonds.
Yeah,
you were 20 years old.
Yeah, when I got drafted,
when you
I was
got
20,
drafted.
yeah.
I mean, how challenging is that to be the youngest player in the NFL being tasked with this?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of responsibilities, and certainly if you're the middle linebacker, there's a lot of pressure on you because you have to communicate. All that's on you. It's your defense. You're the quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. Sean McDermott said he can handle it. He embraces it. He's got high standards. He's got to learn on the fly a little bit and just read and react. He puts a lot of pressure on himself, but I was the same way when I was drafted to the Cowboys.
9th play of the drive. Another long drive by the pass. And taken down right away by Edmonds was James White.
But
You
that's
see
what
the burst of explosion.
But that's what he can do well. When he sees it, he can go get it. In the open field, the ability to see the running back flare out. He sees it. And now once the ball is in the air, he just takes off using speed, athleticism, and this is when he's at his best in the open field.
Yeah, read and react. Evans' ability, he sees it. He knows, and what he saw was a left tackle Brown going for a cutback, so he knew the ball was coming out.
Here's 3rd and 11 with Edelman as he is taken down from behind by Jordan Phillips.
That's twice now for Buffalo's defense. They've been able to give up some big plays here and there, but when they've gotten it close to the red zone, they've gotten stops. And so you get in here and it's 6-0 potentially. This defense is holding their own. I look for this offense. They got to make some plays and attack. But, I mean, the defense for the Bills, they're doing their part stopping this prolific offense for the Patriots.
So Gostkowski comes back out. This from 40. Another long drive and another settle for 3 for New England. 6-zip. Well, the news of the day in the NFL came by way of Cleveland. Hugh Jackson and the offensive coordinator Todd Haley, head coach and OC, fired by the Browns.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we saw it on Hard Knocks this also, in the training camp. Todd Haley and Hugh had been going back and forth for quite some time. And I think Jimmy Haslam said certainly he gave Hugh plenty enough time to get that program right. I think all of us were wondering it was just a matter of time that he was going to lose that opportunity. And for Todd, the same thing. I think he just said enough of it. I'm going to give it to Greg Williams, who's a fiery guy, he's a competitor.
Sure
We've
is.
seen his body of work and see what we got. So I commend Jimmy Haslam for making that decision, that, hey, look, I'm not going to wait till the end of the year anymore. I've seen enough. I got a young team. I want to see what they're about, and maybe Greg Williams can light a fire under these guys.
But what was your take?
Well, I think when you look at it, Tess, you have to wonder what's going to happen with Baker Mayfield. He's a young quarterback. Everything in that organization should be about how can we make Baker Mayfield better? How can we bring his progress along? And right now you have to wonder, who's going to call plays? Hugh Jackson is an offensive head coach. He's gone. Todd Haley's the OC. He's gone. And if you're Baker Mayfield, you're probably sitting there right now wondering, where am I going to get my guidance, my tutelage from? And I think that is a bad place for this Cleveland Browns organization to be in when your #1 pick doesn't know where he's going to get his tutelage.
You see with the windy night, they're actually holding for the kickoff there as there is a flag down. As Gostkowski asked for a teammate to hold the ball. We've had gusts at about 16 miles an hour just before our opening kickoff tonight.
I know you guys aren't feeling much wind upstairs. It's a nice little brisk breeze down here, Tess.
Hold on a second, man. I just saw interlocking LV on that scarf. I saw Gucci about 3 weeks ago up at Green Bay, and now you're rocking Louis here in Buffalo. Don't complain too much, bud. Fashion statement made.
They're 1 yard from the line of scrimmage. I don't know how it was a false start. Just wait.
Illegal formation, kicking team. There were not 2 men outside the numbers on the formation. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Remember, we have new kickoff rules this year, and that's a formation rule.
Well, I mean, you see it in there because he's holding that kick there, being able to do that.
Let's bring our rules expert, Jeff Triplett.
Yeah, they have to have, you can see right there, they have that's exactly correct. 2 players were outside the numbers, and there has to be 2 players between the numbers and the hash mark. They did not have the 2 players between the numbers and the hash.
So they will re-kick here. Gostkowski, the 40-yard field goal at the end of that last drive for the Patriots. And here's Murphy from about the 3. after the penalty. A 28-yard return. We just mentioned the situation going on in Cleveland. Of course, the much talked about rookie quarterbacks. Josh Allen out injured here with Buffalo. You see the records. By the way, the completion percentages all under 60%. But where does this leave Baker Mayfield now with the change? Head coach gone, offensive coordinator gone from Cleveland.
Yeah, and Book said it. Look, I mean, you know, you never want to see the coordinator and the head coach who's an offensive coach. But look, I think it was so dysfunctional that it was affecting Baker anyway. So you'd rather it happen than regroup. He's going to learn a lot over these next 10 weeks about himself, about his football team, and trust the organization management that they go out and make the right hire.
There's Anderson on first down. And batted away at the last moment was Gilmore coming up defensively against Kelvin Benjamin.
You know, that was good coverage by Gilmore, but I want to focus on Benjamin. At the top of the route, use your size. He's so big. He's waiting on that football. You see how he's going to cradle it with his hands right there at the top of the screen? I want him to extend his hands. Gilmore's back's turned to the ball, so he can't see. He's a good player. He has awareness to get his hand in there. But Benjamin, he's got to play to his strengths on those 50-50 balls, and don't wait on it.
He is 4 inches and 40 pounds on Gilmore. McCoy, stop and start, and ahead for a yard that time.
You know,
Sean McCoy, the 2-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, and you know, I'm with you on the Wildcat, and it was a nice little wrinkle, but don't try to get too cute. And those first and second downs, they want to run the football. I like the throw there by Anderson to try to get it to Benjamin, but when you're running it, get it between the tackles. Be physical. That's where they have to play.
Well, I think it's the best thing that they do, run the football. They don't have a true number one wide receiver or tight end. Be who you are, run the football with this big offensive line.
35-year-old Derek Anderson, signed 3 weeks ago, goes underneath the Jones, who's immediately taken down by McCourty.
Man-to-man coverage, and they just do such a good job, Patriots defense, with their awareness, understanding the pick routes, getting through on the releases there, forcing it underneath, and they rally up to it and make plays. When they play man-to-man on those pick routes and crossers, they drive on the football probably as good as anybody in the league.
So Edelman back to return the punt of Corey Bojorquez, his third punt of the night. First 2 punts, touchbacks, had struggle there in fielding that snap. And with that, a poor effort with that punt. Just a 26-yard punt from Bojorquez. The statement Saturday coming up in college football. We're going to start in the Big Ten. We got number 14 Penn State against number 5 Michigan. That's at 3:45. And then undefeated and third-ranked Notre Dame against Northwestern at 7:15. And of course tomorrow at 7 Eastern on ESPN is the College Football Playoff Top 25 reveal. It is that time of the year. Let the great debates begin. Brady going to check down underneath. Oh, Devlin just pile driving ahead for 7 yards. Big fullback, James Devlin.
Yeah, in the ACC there, they didn't have those fullbacks. You know, that spread offense, Edmonds, he's not used to dealing with those boys. College football, that fullback position, it's a lost art.
Well, apparently they had him in the Ivy League because he went to Brown. 2nd and 3. As he was looking for Edelman. And a flag reigns in all the way back at the 35. Coverage came from Edmonds there.
Yeah, and the Bills are just playing soft coverage.
Defense, number 49. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And what they're doing is they're dropping 7 guys. So they're forcing the ball to go underneath because basically the 2 safeties are helping on the outside. And the linebackers are being physical at 4 or 5 yards on Gronkowski and Edelman because they know they have help over in behind. So Tom's got to be patient. And then, of course, when they get out of that coverage or they find him there because he's so good at the line of scrimmage, look for him to take a shot.
Here's Barner. As Grant tried to pave the way. Only able to get a couple there. Kenyon Barner, his 5th season from Oregon. They got him after Jeremy Hill tore his ACL in week 1. It's been one of those yo-yo sign and release guys. They've been doing the roster shuffle with Barner. There's been times when he's practiced during the week. They release him, they re-sign him. I know he told you about being thinned out at running back. They've had the injuries this year to Rex Burkhead, Jeremy Hill, last week Sony Michel.
Second down. This is when you see a lot of their play action game and their fly sweeps.
Here's the screen. White gets free and just tripped up. That'll move the chains. That was Tre'Davious White with the tackle, but 15 yards and a good block from Shaq Mason, the right guard there.
Yeah, what they're going to do here is they're going to fake this fly sweep and then come off of it and then run the screen. And when that happens, everybody thinks it's going to be a shot down the field. 2 play fakes and then come back, and they've got a big area. They're getting 3 of their linemen out in space. They know exactly where they're going. You see them cut blocking, throwing their bodies out in space. Edelman on the edge blocking, and they get first downs. 2 play fakes and then come back to the screen. Tom's just so good at doing those play fakes.
And you said this to Boog and me the other day. They don't overcomplicate things when it comes to those screen games. And then there's this guy, Gronk, who grew up just 15 miles away, missed last week's game with a bad back.
And that's just a one-back pull guard on the power pass, and now Gronkowski. We saw it earlier with Hogan, and now they come back with Gronkowski. And it's all off the play action. When those linebackers see a guard pulling, their intent is go up and say, run, run, run. Not with the Patriots. They marry the run and the pass as good as anybody in the National Football League.
Play clock running down. They shift to the shotgun. Play action off of it. A little bit of pressure in the pocket, and Brady goes down. Lorenzo Alexander took a swipe at the ball and then came down for the second sack of the night for the Bills defense.
They've been getting pressure all night, and you see Alexander, his ability to just keep working. Tom Brady tries to step up, which is what all the great ones do, but Alexander continuing to work, coming off the edge, physical, and just getting and trying to swipe the ball from Tom Brady. You may not get there initially, but just keep working, and the quarterback may hold the ball, you can get a sack.
You know, Boog, I mean, he plays outside linebacker in a 4-3 scheme and then plays defensive end and nickel.
2nd and 16. That was incomplete as he was just looking for Devlin there.
You know, they were trying to get that to Josh Gordon, but you know, give White, Tre'Davious White at the corner a lot of credit. They're being physical, and they're keeping their hands in tight. They're pressing them at the line of scrimmage. They're kind of getting right inside of them. So you get a little bit of tug, and they're not allowing them to get separation because they know in that play action, when they're playing man-to-man, there's big holes in there. They don't want to give that separation. Good job being physical and just mirroring the receiver.
It is so loud here at New Era Field. Bills Mafia, as they are dubbed, roaring. 3rd and 16. Edelman trying to turn the corner and taken down at the 20. Well short of the line to make. Just getting 8 there.
Good adjustment.
Oh, it's getting rough. Whistles blowing as the Pats and the Bills are still tied up, tangled up at the end of that. And in the middle of it was Hyde.
And David Andrews, I tell you, the center for the Patriots, he's a nasty guy. I love watching him on tape. He's cut blocking. He's down the field on the screens. I think the safeties didn't like that. You see him. Andrews, he's going to help his guy up. He kind of pushes Hyde over. Get out of the way. I got to pick my man up.
But this Buffalo Bills defense is playing with a chip on their shoulders tonight, guys. They're feeding off the energy of the crowd, and they're really playing really well right now, holding the New England Patriots to field goals.
Gostkowski's made from 25 and 40. This from 38. This defense has been doing their job. They're not breaking when they get down there. Holding them to field goals. 9-0 Pats. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Zales. 'Tis the season to make an unmistakable statement. Find your style at Zales. September of '94. Broncos Bills on Monday Night Football. Thurman Thomas. He led the way. Over 100 rushing yards, couple of touchdowns. A 27-20 victory. The last home win on Monday Night Football. And they're going to be retiring that famed number 34 tonight. It'll be only the third Bills jersey ever retired. There is Thurman, one of the all-time greats, Pro Football Hall of Famer. What a special night. You see our Chris Berman standing behind him there. Boom is going to be the MC for this ceremony here at halftime. He's going to join company of Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith. He is absolutely beloved. And so many Bills of the past and NFL luminaries are in town this week. You can go out to dinner last night. You see everybody from around the league and Bills greats from years past.
Thurman was a great player, but he had that contagious personality that guys loved him.
Here's McCoy trying to bounce it, and is finally taken down by Flowers.
And I know that Shady's trying to get involved there and use his quickness and get on the edge, but you know, these running backs for the Bills, they got 6 rushes for 12 yards. I'd like to see him attack a little bit more in between the tackles. And I know New England's 2 gappers, but just it's got to be a little bit more ground and pound inside, because New England's, they understand the situation on the perimeter. You're not going to get it out there on them.
Got a bunch formation to the near side, and now they're able to motion Holmes out of it. 2nd and 6. McCoy again. He ran into his own man there. Ducasse.
You know, if you're Buffalo, your defense is playing really, really well. Your offense is going to have to put together. I know they want to run the football, but you're going to have to make some plays in the passing game. 9-0. Right now, it feels like they're dying a slow death until they get some plays offensively.
Yeah, and when you want to live in the ground and pound world, 1st and 2nd down, you got to get more than 4 yards, because now you're in this situation, as we see here, it's a 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 6, and you put that pressure on Derek Anderson that he has to make some plays in these situations.
I want to avoid those obvious passing down and distances. 3rd down and 6, and here is Anderson with time downfield and does get it complete to Holmes.
And Derek Anderson's got a big arm. I realize he was playing golf and trying to qualify for whatever tournament he was doing, but his ability to make this throw on a tight out route and the receiver get 2 feet down, that's the type of explosive plays they have to be able to get, especially on 3rd down, to keep drives moving.
And going against Jason McCourty, really had outside leverage in that situation. So good job by Andre Holmes at the top of the route, giving him some move with his legs and his head inside and capturing the outside.
There's Anderson again. And incomplete through to the outside of McCoy. Okay, so this quarterback situation with the Bills, it has been like the rough waters of Niagara Falls. Tyrod Taylor was traded for a 3rd-round pick in the offseason. They signed A.J. McCarron. They traded him away before Week 1. Peterman started Week 1 but was benched. Josh Allen, you know about the star rookie, injured. So that leaves this guy, Derek Anderson, fishing for some success, hoping to not go over the nearby falls.
You know, and a lot of people are frustrated by how it's played out, the quarterback position for Buffalo.
Second and 10, Ivory, as he gets past the initial would-be tackler of Danny Shelton and goes ahead for 6.
Because, you know, going back to the quarterback situation, you go back, they traded A.J. McCarron. All right, I get it. You know, when a guy comes in and he doesn't win the job, oftentimes they're a little bit bitter in that situation, not knowing what McCarron was. We weren't here, but I understand that. But if you're going to bring in Derek Anderson as a mentor to Josh Allen, he had a lot of success with that in Cam Newton Young in his career, do it in the offseason. Do it in August so that he can have an impact with this young quarterback.
Well, we had a conversation with Brandon Beane, the GM here, and I think they would have preferred ideal world that was the case, right? Bring in the older guy for the mentorship role to Josh Allen. 3rd and 4. Anderson, shallow cross, and another 1st down. This is Zay Jones.
New England brought a little pressure there. They're starting to get a little antsy. They brought pressure. They bring from the strong side. You see 23 Patrick Chung, the fullback, picks up the crossing route. Zay Jones, nice patience there by Anderson. His ability to throw the crosser. The thing that I don't understand about the Buffalo Bills quarterback situation, I get it. You should have brought Anderson in the offseason. But why did we start Nathan Peterman Week 1? You had all offseason to evaluate Nathan Peterman. I just don't understand the thought of starting him Week 1.
Yeah, and I think the reason they did that, Boog, is because they wanted to protect Josh Allen, not start him. But if that's the case, you can't throw him in Week 2.
Right, exactly. Right.
that's what surprised me in that situation. If Peterman wins the job, then and you think that he can play with him, which is hard for me to imagine that's the case, guys, because you know you saw Peterman play last year.
Yeah.
And you know Josh Allen, you traded up to go get him. If he's your guy, you think that he's your guy, then you're either going to play him or you're going to redshirt him in that year. But you're not going to do both and throw him in week 2 because Peterman didn't play well.
And then when you did see Josh Allen out, I mean, he gives you those flashes of athleticism, the hurdling, the galvanizing the team with his playbook.
And I think when you see Nathan Peterman, you see a guy that's mentally frustrated right now. We all remember the 5 interceptions he threw last year, and then he gets in the game against Baltimore, and he just falls apart mentally. I don't think this guy's cut out to play quarterback in the NFL. They like him in Buffalo, but I just don't know if he's cut out to be on this field leading a group of men, and I think he's shown that. Good idea of Buffalo bringing in Anderson. I agree with you, though, Whit. They should have brought him in a long time ago.
But Peterman was never the answer. That's why they traded up with the 7th pick. So if you're going to throw him out there, do it early.
So here's the guy that was signed on October 9th. As he goes underneath to McCoy. As we're coming to the 2-minute warning. And there is Nathan Peterman looking on. Brady and the Pats have had to settle for field goals, and now the Bills are marching at the 2-minute warning. Up on the commercial-free Genesis halftime show, of course, Susan Colbert, Lewis Riddick, Steve Young, and Thurman Thomas, the Jersey retirement. Our Chris Berman is the MC of that here in Buffalo, and they are going to show love on Thurman Thomas with this crowd. And Herbie's coming up with SVP. Of course, the college football playoff top 25 reveal is tomorrow at 7 Eastern. So we'll hear Kirk's thoughts there and a special performance coming your way by Bush. 8th play coming for the Bills. Their longest drive tonight. Anderson 2nd and 8 on the backfield. The fullback DeMarco. And Patrick Chung quick to him.
The Bills are standing 21 personnel. 2 backs, one tight end to try to keep New England in base personnel. And you see there, Bill Belichick calls a timeout, understanding that if he can get a stop here, they can then get the ball back and have a 2-minute drive before the half.
Lisa.
Thank you, Tess. Thurman, 12 seasons here in Buffalo, league MVP in 1991. What do you cherish most about your time here in Buffalo?
Well, the thing that I cherish most about my time with the Buffalo Bills is that the support that I got over the years from the fans. The fans coming out here and supporting this organization for 12 years that I played here. It's the fans that make this fan base.
Now, you are getting your jersey retired tonight. 2 of your teammates also had that honor, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith. What's it mean to you to be having that same honor with those guys?
Well, you know what? It's really special for me, especially because Tim and Terry Pegula, they own the Buffalo Bills now, and I didn't even play for those guys. And for them to show the support for me and my family means the world to us.
You guys were all so close back then. Why so close?
We're just a family, you know, and it all started with our former owner, Mr. Wilson. He was a family to everybody, and that's the reason why we're so close.
Congratulations on the honor.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
Number 34 will be honored. Here's a 3rd and 8 in McCoy. Only gets a couple of yards that time. Filling that run fit was Patrick Chung.
Well, I'm not really sure I understand the play. It's 3rd and 8. Your defense is playing lights out. It's 9-0. You're an underdog, and you come out with a run play. Are we going to play to win, or are we just going to play for the field goal? I get it. You're limited outside, but you got to force the football down the field there.
You know, I think in that situation, really, they're trying to get a couple yards so that they had a bigger field goal. And it also forced Bill Belichick to use a timeout because Buffalo understands they didn't want to give this ball back to him. Bill Belichick, his game management, not just at the end of the game. That's what a lot of people talk about at the end of halves, because if Buffalo could have got that 1st down, they probably would have ate some of that clock, knowing that if they can get some points before the half, they're going to get the ball to start the 2nd half. But Bill Belichick gets a stop, uses 2 timeouts, and then they're going to have plenty enough time for Tom Brady and company.
So it'll be a 47-yard attempt from Hauschka. And you got that swirling wind here tonight. He's always been a real good low-driving 3-iron kind of kicker. Let's see if he can do it here. And he does. We've got field goals for everybody tonight. 9-3. A 10-play drive from Buffalo to get on the board.
And I understand going for the field goal. I just don't think you're going to beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots on 3rd and 8 running the football. You have to be more aggressive. Bill Belichick did a great job of managing the clock, if you're Buffalo, you can't play scared tonight. You have to be aggressive when you're trying to beat a team like the Patriots.
Well, and I think it's a byproduct of Derek Anderson only being here 6 days. Third down, you're in field goal range. The best thing you do is run the ball. Don't have a lot of confidence, and I'm with you. In the second half, we'll see. But if you can keep it a tight ball game, and you go in, if you're Buffalo, if you can go into this thing at halftime 9-3, you got to feel pretty good about your chances of where you're at, because I don't think a lot of people expected that. So force their timeouts. Good job by New England. And now this Buffalo defense, they're going to play the soft zone. They cannot allow Tom Brady and his crew to put a drive together.
Are they having a blast up here at New Era Field tonight or what? They've waited 10 years for Monday Night Football to come back. Sounds like a college atmosphere. Listen to this crowd as Patterson weaves his way on the kickoff return.
What's the line our old man, Chris Berman, our guy, has? Nobody knows how to circle the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
I also like the red glow of the heat lamps in that middle section. You know, hey, look, you know what that's like? That's like the French fries in a good old-fashioned Jersey diner sitting under those heat lamps there.
No question. It's the best seat in the house.
And if you're the Buffalo Bills, guys, understand the wind is swirling down here. It's about to knock my hat off. Tom Brady may not be able to throw the football deep down the field. So when you play your zones, understand what the wind is doing.
Love seeing Chris Berman here.
Brady with plenty of time to look over the options and then finds Julian Edelman. You're going to get Brady that much time, he's going to slice you for 20 yards.
Yeah, and Edmonds, understanding there was cover 2, he played low. It was a high-low read, and by doing so, with the time Tom had, he jumped underneath for the back, and he was able to hit Edelman in behind. Give up the short underneath one, not the deep ball.
Underneath again, and driving forward was Josh Gordon. Josh McDaniels, of course, former head coach at Denver, the guy who accepted the head coaching job for the Colts before backing out to stay as the OC for New England.
And the Bills are complaining about a non-holding call in that last play.
Second and very short here. And look at what Brady is doing here in these final moments of this first half. Another 10 yards.
That ball comes out so quickly. That Johnson, the nickelbacker in that cover 2, he's got that hook. He's trying to squeeze it, but he just can't get there.
Here's White, and tackled that time by Milano, as the clock will continue to run down. No timeouts.
I think Tom Brady's going to spike this one.
Let's see if he clocks it, and he does, and that'll leave 15 seconds remaining before the half. Of course, we will have the commercial-free Genesis halftime show coming your way. Bill Belichick, 19 seasons, third most wins in NFL history.
And now they're going to take a shot into the end zone, right? They know they are in field goal range. It's third down. They get one chance at it. Take a shot to the end zone and have a chance, because, you know, there's really no point in trying to get some outbreakers. I guess you can get a little bit closer, get the first down, and one more chance at it, but look for him to try to get it there on this down.
He was looking for the out route as he was trying to find Gronk. That leaves 10 seconds.
You know, they're trying to get one more chance at it. They had opportunities. They had 2 vertical routes going to the end zone with Hogan and Gordon, and then they sent the underneath players, Gronkowski and Edelman, on out routes. Either way, smart play, trying to take a shot. Now you bring out the field goal team. So good management by New England Patriots, giving themselves an opportunity at points.
Who took over for Vinatieri 13 years ago, and of course has been one of the best kickers in the league year in and year out. But not there. A flag is down. We will check on that.
Holding. Offense, number 93. This penalty decline. The result of the play is no good, field goal.
So after makes from 25, 40, and 38, he misses from 50.
Look for the Bills. I mean, you got to feel good about what you did here in the first half. holding them. Probably going to take a knee here, going to halftime and regroup. Offensively, they got to answer the bell. They had that drive, crossing routes, and running the ball inside the tackles.
4 straight games with 38-plus points for the Patriots. And then right here, this Bills defense in front of an absolutely roaring crowd with the return of Monday Night Football keeps them to 9. 9-3 pass. The Bills will get the ball to start the second half as we join Suzy Kolber for the commercial-free Genesis halftime show starting right now. Thurman Thomas, focal point of the Bills' K-Gun offense for 12 seasons. Of course, he helped lead them to 4 straight Super Bowl appearances. A 5-time Pro Bowler, the 1991 NFL MVP, and in 2007 inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And tonight, his number 34 jersey retired by the Buffalo Bills. What a scene it has been here. Cell phones out, and 34, just the 3rd jersey ever retired by the Bills.
Your brothers, Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith. Let's make it official.
I want to begin by giving a great big thank you to the city of Buffalo, my home, and to all of my fans. Some of y'all are crazy as hell, and you know who you are, but you have supported me throughout my entire career and beyond, good times and bad. I love each and every one of you with more than you will ever know.
'93-year-old Marv Levy alongside Jim Kelly, that number 12 already retired here in Buffalo, as is Bruce Smith's number 78. And our halftime score, 9-3. Patriots held to 3 field goals just before the half. Gostkowski missed from 50. 221 total yards for the Pats, just 99 for Buffalo. A limited offense, we understand, with Buffalo with Derek Anderson. What is the hope for what can be accomplished in the second half with that offense?
Well, they got to take some shots down the field. They got to start stretching the ball down the field, crossing routes. New England's challenging them man-to-man, making Derek Anderson, forcing him to throw the ball in tight windows. But they got to get the running game going in between the tackles, and then when they have a chance to take a shot, they got to take advantage of it because their defense is doing all they can do, keeping Tom Brady to 9 points.
And Derek Anderson with 76 yards passing. Brady with 202 yards. Arcade Jewelers, extraordinary moments with.
Well, you're going to see it there. And it happened with New England's offense. They're going empty formation. And what they're going to do, Buffalo's defense, they're going to play Tampa 2. They're dropping 7 guys. It's forcing the ball underneath. That's the style that Buffalo's going to play. They're going to drop these guys in a Tampa 2 scheme. It's the middle linebacker, Edmonds. He's going back in the deep half of the field. And so when you drop 7, of course, Tom Brady's got to throw it underneath to these spots, and he's doing that. But what we saw in that 2-minute drive is eventually they want to come running up inside, and he's throwing it in behind there. So make Tom Brady go these long drives is great. Holding him to field goals is what the Buffalo Bills defense is all about because of this scheme that you just saw in the video.
Edmonds just a pup, man. 20 years old, just a kid out there, but he's got unbelievable upside. Boog, what's your read?
Well, this Buffalo defense is playing outstanding. They're doing a great job on Rob Gronkowski. He's their leading receiver. They're playing physical with him, sometimes putting 2 guys on him. They all know that Tom Brady wants to go to Gronkowski at some point. They're going to have to continue this, not only in the first half, but in the second half. Remember, against Kansas City, they held Gronk down all game, and then at the end, he got loose. Can Buffalo keep Rob Gronkowski under wraps, especially playing physical against him?
Gronk back home and back to action after dealing with the injury. He's had 3 back surgeries in his career. Had 1 in college football, a couple as a pro, and then last week missed action with the nagging back spasms. Here's Murphy on the return. As Murphy kept his balance, and a flag is down back at the 21-yard line after a 31-yard return from Marcus Murphy.
Personal foul, illegal block, receiving team, number 82. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Check in with Lisa Salters.
Hey, Tess. Well, Sean McDermott told me that he's really pleased with the way the defense is playing. He said, we just got to get something going on offense. He said, we've had drives. We just haven't been able to keep them going and keep the momentum, particularly on their side of the 50. I asked him about all the trickery we saw at the beginning of the game. And he said, just trying to give the offense a spark, that they saw some things on film that they thought might work and give them an edge. Tess?
And I think that's exactly what they did, at least early on. They went with some of the exotic, non-conventional formations and sets. And here they go with McCoy. He gets it ahead for 4 yards.
And that's what I mean by between the tackles. Inside zone, getting the receivers down, man on man. It's 3-yard runs, but just keep a couple drives like that. Allow the New England defense to fill them. But what's hurting them is that they can't shoot themselves in the foot like that with a penalty on the kickoff return, because now you're starting this drive on the 10, 11-yard line. That's a long field for Derek Anderson, goes without saying.
You know, those hidden yards, they lose 25 yards of field position due to that penalty. Here's McCoy again on 2nd and 6, and he cannot shake free of Malcolm Brown. Big 320-pounder out of Texas.
And he's the guy in the middle. If you're going to run the football against this Patriots defense, Malcolm Brown. Patriots didn't pick up the 5th-year option. He says, you know what, don't worry about it. I'm going to be inside, playing, being physical, not holding the gap. Two gapping inside is what they do best, and Malcolm Brown is the guy in the middle.
But, you know, it's not this crazy thing. I mean, it's not as sexy as probably people wanted to hear, but running it on 1st and 2nd down gets them an opportunity in 3rd and manageable. And this is when Derek Anderson has to be the veteran that they brought in here.
Now, this is what they want. More manageable. 3rd and 2, and you can do that. Just get it to McCoy and let him do his thing as he picks up a big block. And a flag rains in with that. That was Kelvin Benjamin who thundered and plowed. 29 yards as it stands now, and you see him saying, hey, that was my shoulder there.
Yeah, but you just can't do that against a defenseless guy like that.
I could hear that hit up here.
Yeah.
Trying to explain it to his quarterback as well. Those are the guys he has to worry about making an argument to.
Give Dable credit, though, with the play call. That's how they have to play
Personal
the
foul,
system.
illegal blindside block, offense, number 13. 15-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
And it's a spot foul. Watch this with Benjamin.
Yeah, and Benjamin can shake his head all he wants to. That's just something you can't do. Yes, he used the shoulder, but the guy was defenseless in a blindside block. So it doesn't matter if you use your shoulder, Kelvin Benjamin. That's something you cannot do.
Well, you know, look, what I used to do in those situations when they throw it underneath, look, you don't need to kill the guy there, meaning like hit him with your shoulder, and he did. He kept his helmet out of it, but just shield him off.
Yeah,
right? There's no point in that, because I never wanted to jeopardize having a play like that come up where they can potentially even make that call, because I understand he's saying he led with his shoulder and with the rules and what they are, but just there's no reason for that in this situation. Don't risk it. Shield him off. Happen all the time. Almost like box him out like you're playing basketball. That's all you need and get that big play.
As McCourty went down hard there, and first down now at the 21. See some of the numbers and limited offensive production.
Maybe a little play action.
There it is. And here he goes. Downfield, looking for Benjamin and coming up with it. So he makes up for things. 6'5", big target, Kelvin Benjamin.
And that's the big difference. We saw in the last one that he had, the jump ball that was 50 for 50 throws. He didn't go up and get the ball. This time instead, he uses his body, positions himself, and that's what we call high pointing the football. Keeping the defender in a good position, and instead of waiting on that ball, going up and get it for 40 yards.
And he does a good job of using his hands to keep the DB from coming back, Gilmore. He doesn't push off. He just holds him there, doesn't allow him to come back.
And now back to McCoy as he's going to run it with a whole lot of traffic to deal with, and getting into the backfield quickly that time was Van Noy as well as Grigsby.
You see how they're trying to go east or west down there, Boog? It's not happening because New England's going to be penetrating, and the Bills can't hold these blocks. If they just take the ball, you're going to see Van Noy. He's going to shoot that gap on the wide zone, 53 there. And between the tackles, at least they're getting positive down and distance so they can be in a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. East and west is not the way you want to go.
Remember, the Dante Hightower is not suited up tonight, out with a knee. Leader of the defense, who has a knack for making so many big plays. Second and 15. Anderson bounces to the ground. It was off of Chris Ivory.
Yeah, and Ivory's got to make that play. He had a one-on-one matchup on Grigsby underneath. He had a little angle route coming underneath. He's got to make the catch. He sold the out to get Grigsby to jump it on it. He could have had some run after catch. You can see it in that situation. Hit him right in the face. But that play action, going back to that play, Benjamin using his body, his length. You got that size and going to get it. That's what allows him to separate himself. Now they have to capitalize on it when they get in plus territory. Instead, because of that minus run, they're sitting at 3rd and 14. That's a tough call in this situation.
Yeah, that tackle for loss by Grigsby, and now a 3rd and 15 after the incompletion. Anderson near side, and that time Benjamin couldn't come up with it, but the penalty flag does come in as the coverage came from Gilmore.
Yeah, it's going to be offensive pass interference.
Yes.
Benjamin pushed off as he's trying to come outside.
Yeah, he's been physical all night. He's a big physical receiver, but at the top of the route, you're going to see him
Pass
push off.
interference. Offense, number 13. The Bills have declined. Bring it up 4th down.
Hey, and I did it a lot, right? I mean, the key to that, the secret to pushing off is you got to use that elbow. As soon as you extend to your hand, like we just saw on that replay, they're going to call it every time they see that extension.
Well, then there should be penalty flags in the booth, because you're often extending that hand and doing that to me, Whit.
Try to just keep that elbow tight.
As there was
All-star.
movement.
Offense, number 42. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
And at 6'5", it's quite conspicuous when he does extend and straighten out that elbow.
Well, when you look at Kelvin Benjamin, guys, he's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end. And he has trouble getting separation. So he has to push off at the top of the route. And I think New England knows that, and they're playing in tight man-to-man coverage.
Is that a Winsboro, Louisiana phrase there, Boog?
I think it's a country phrase, Tess.
I love it, Boog.
A lot of back and forth going on this punt.
As Bojorquez gets that rotation and trying to pin it inside the 10. And yet another flag is down.
No, just to wrap up on Buffalo's last series there, that minus run, and then that call there by Dable to try to get that first down because you don't have the speed on the outside. Maybe you could have ran it there knowing that you're not going to get the first down, but have a chance at a field goal potentially.
But I do like them being aggressive. Remember,
Yes.
at the end of the first half, they weren't aggressive. I at least like them trying to push the football down the field. You're not going to beat New England being conservative.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Receiving team, number 11. For blocking after signaling for a fair catch. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
We'll tag that on
Timeout.
Edelman. And Patriots offense will be pinned here to start this next drive. Patriots offense here will start just short of the 5-yard line. Their star receivers haven't gotten into gear with.
Yeah, they haven't seen much of Rob Gronkowski and Josh Gordon. 4 catches combined. Early in the game, Rob Gronkowski one-on-one on gains on the outside. Gets no separation. Then in the red zone, trying to run a quick out route. Couldn't make a play. And then Gordon had the go route. Stacks him. He's got separation. And you got to track the football and watch it in. Missed opportunity. They're on the slant. Just good job keeping things in front of them. Making this New England offense one of the most prolific offenses in sports for a long time. Make them go on long drives. That's what this Buffalo defense has done in the first half. They hope to keep that up. And they can't just play soft zone, though, because Tom's going to be good at that. They need to pressure him change some field position, allow their offense to get the ball in some plus territory.
I think the biggest thing they're doing is they're just playing hard and they're being physical with Gronkowski. And Gordon is having a tough time tracking the ball with the wind.
Trying to find some breathing room, but White unable to. Just gets back to the line of scrimmage.
And you never know when those defining moments are going to happen in a game. And this, to me, could be one of them. For, you know, the thing that New England's going to try to do is get the play-action game going. That's where they're best at. And if Buffalo can get a stop here in this situation and force a punt, give their offense the ball at midfield, you don't know if you're going to get back down there in this situation.
Brady straddling that goal line. 2nd and 10 from his own end zone. Quickly gets it out to Gordon. As White pushes him out, and it'll be 3rd and about 3 there.
You know, I hadn't seen Edmonds in there on that last series there, which is a middle linebacker. He's so big and athletic. It'll be interesting to see if New England tries to attack him.
But on this 3rd and short, New England, they have their entire playbook open. They can run the football, they can throw it. Wouldn't be surprised if they're physical and run the ball with Patterson here.
That's Stanford inside, playing the mic for Edmonds.
3rd and 3, here's Cordero Patterson, and he goes nowhere. Taken down for a loss of 1, Julian Stanford, and Jordan Poyer with the tackle.
But they try to get that toss sweep on the edge, and the speed of Buffalo just closed it. I circled Stanford there. You see him getting past Andrews, coming in off the bench, and makes a nice play, critical time. And this is the field position I'm talking about. No penalties in this punt return situation here.
So Ryan Allen from a few yards from the end zone. As he drives it to Hyde, who will return it from the 33. Micah Hyde, good return. Just what they needed. A low line drive of only a 3.93 hang time offers up a return by Hyde of 30 yards.
Well, he boomed that ball. Problem was, these guys couldn't get down there, Tess.
He put it downfield, but he didn't offer any hang time with it. So Hyde was able to hit the accelerator and get a 30-yard return after the first 3 and out for the Patriots. So now you set up shop at the 35-yard line.
And Whit, you talk about critical moments in the game. This is a critical moment for Brian Daboll in this Buffalo Bill offense. Your defense got you a stop. You got the ball in Patriot territory. You have to get points on this drive.
Anderson. And that was a disaster from the beginning of just securing the ball.
Yeah.
Flowers and Vanoy disrupting it.
Yeah, that's disappointing to see. They had both tight ends and 12 personnel off the ball. And what that tells me when I see that, they're going to max protect. And when you max protect, you're going to take a shot down the field. And Anderson missed it. You see both these tight ends on the edge, they're there to protect so that he has time off this play action. And you see the receivers going deep down the field to try to take advantage of where they had with field position. Now they're going to run the tight zone inside to the right side.
Wow, Flowers, what a play. Trey Flowers, tackle for loss.
And he's their best defensive lineman. He's so fundamentally and technically sound. Trey Flowers from Arkansas. The ability to split the double team and then get inside. Logan Thomas, former quarterback back in the day at Virginia Tech. Not sure he's used to being that physical inside blocking defensive ends with.
Trust me, he's not. You know, they had the double team. When they bring that receiver down, it's just ding, ding, ding for these defensive ends. They know that it's going to be that inside zone, and he had no chance there. That situation, just, you'd like to see him. The negative yardage now it puts him out of field goal position.
But you got to be aggressive on 3rd down. Try to get the first down here.
3rd and 13. As Benjamin secures it at about the 34, tackled by Gilmore. Remember, they started this at the 35-yard line after Hyde had the excellent punt return. They picked up 54 yards on the exchange of possessions. The first drive was their own 11. This drive started at the New England 35.
But look, here's the deal. You know you're not going to be able to pass, really stretch the field against this offense of New England. Somebody wasn't out on the field goal team.
It's going to be a 51-yard attempt from Hauschka. In pregame, he hit from 54 in this direction, dealing with the swirling winds. A 51-yard field goal from Hauschka. He's made from 47 and 51. 9-6 game here. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Live like a pro. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Our score is Gostkowski 9, Hauschka 6. Nothing but field goals tonight. This high-powered Patriots offense that has been revving for the better part of the past month held to 9 to this point. And Buffalo, a couple of field goals with a stingy defense tonight. And the injury update. Tremaine Edmonds, the first-round draft pick, injured on this play. He is out with a concussion. The rookie from Virginia Tech, who we talked about so much in the first half in terms of the matchups, what he offers up in pass coverage, and the challenges that he faced. He will not return tonight. We've seen Julian Stanford, his 5th season out of Wagner, in the game at middle linebacker. Here's jet motion with Edelman. They are hitting hard tonight. That was Gilmore coming up.
You know, one thing to keep an eye on is, you know, and I've admired this about Bill Belichick and his staff for a long time, is the adjustments to the adjustments in the second half. The running game has been struggling. So what do? They come with the fly sweep. They know that they have to get that established because the best thing they do is empty sets and, of course, the play action. So here we see an empty set. But being able to get favorable down in distance because of the running game. Now Edelman's going to go on Stanford.
2nd and 3 as he goes across the field that time to Edelman. You know, it's been interesting to see how the Patriots are dealing with things. Of course, the injury to Sony Michel. And you look down, you think about who are the leading rushers here tonight. Edelman has 2 carries for 13 yards. Patterson 5 carries. The wide receiver 5 carries for 8 yards. Brady has an 8-yard carry.
That's never a good sign. Tom Brady's in the top, only 5 yards behind your leading rusher. But that's the matchup they're going to do. Fly sweeps, find different ways, and the adjustments they make in the second half to get things going.
Comes back this time to Hogan.
I think they're going to get Edelman on a little offensive pass interference now.
Yeah. You see
Guys
the
are
shake of
pushing
the head.
off.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 15. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
They're actually calling that on Chris Hogan.
You know, and you got to give Buffalo a ton of credit. They're saying, you know what, we're going to allow you to complete the ball underneath. They're playing these soft zones. They're forcing Tom Brady to check the football down. They're willing to deal and make the Patriots have a 10, 12, 15-play drive. As you see Hogan just kind of push off, trying to get a little separation there.
Yeah, a little two-man there in that coverage. You know, Sean McDermott using a lot of different blends of coverage. That's what he has to do, because you can't just play one against Tom Brady. Good adjustment there on that last play.
Play clock down to 1. Brady on play action as he goes over the middle and is able to meet up with Josh Gordon there. Remember the penalties, so it's going to be 2nd and short here as he gets 17 yards back after a 1st and 20.
You're going to see Edelman clear this out, so that it gives an ISO right here for Josh Gordon. Play action comes, he clears it out, and then there's a big hole for Josh Gordon. Josh kind of eased up there. He just needs to keep running. Makes a nice catch on the ball, but those holes, they come off the play action, and they're big plays.
Second and 2 is White out of the I formation. It was well blocked as he goes ahead for 5 yards, crossing midfield and giving them a fresh set of downs.
Now if you're Buffalo's defense, you're in this situation. You know, you have to play that way of, we talk about the blends of coverage. What does that mean? You can't just line up in one thing, and you saw in that play action, you cannot give Tom Brady those types of holes. Voids in coverage are going to crush him. Costly.
There's White again as he tries to run with purpose there, but only finds two. The big paw of Kyle Williams was bringing him down. And this big Kyle, 35 years old, 13 seasons here. Loves living up here in Buffalo after all these years. Got 5 kids, a couple of girls, 11 and 10, boys 7, 5, and 3, and he is country boy strong. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, he is, and he represents everything this city's all about, grit and toughness.
2nd and 8. Brady lofts it downfield, but beyond Gronkowski, who comes down hard on his back. Remember, he missed last week's game with a bad back.
Watch Milano, though, in his coverage. He's getting physical with Rob Gronkowski. He's obviously outmatched in this situation. Watch him just ride him, mirror him. Gronkowski trying to play to his length. For tight ends, we always used to hate when guys hit us early and then they get back because behind us, because constantly we're feeling them. We can't get separation or we can't get our body and play to our frame.
Listen to this place on 3rd and 8. Pressure up the middle, they pick it up. Brady, incomplete. Couldn't find Edelman. That was Jerry Hughes coming after him.
It's just a great call by Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier. They're not going to let Tom Brady sit back there. They bring pressure, they bring Micah Hyde, they bring the backer, and Jerry Hughes gets through there and forces Brady to throw it just a little bit before Edelman was ready for it.
Yeah, and he wanted Edelman to hook up there. It was a soft zone. They've done that a lot. He was a little bit frustrated because he thought that hole, that Edelman was on the same page with him.
As Hyde secures that after his 27-yard punt. Jerry Hughes. Nice job defensively. Under Sports Center with SVP will be coming up after the game. Of course, all the post-game coverage from here in Buffalo. And Herbie's going to be by with his top 4 teams. The reveal is tomorrow, the college football playoff rankings. And Kirk will have his biggest surprise and bad beats from the weekend. 9-6 here. And Ivory with a big gasher straight ahead for 13.
And that's what Ivory does best. If you're going to run it inside to create the tackles for loss and the minus plays, Ivory can really hit that thing between A-gap and A-gap, as we see there.
Good seal by Ducasse.
Keep pounding it and then try to take a play action on 1st and 2nd down, get a shot there because it's going to be hard to go the distance. Run the football, take a shot, but you can't have penalties, drop fumbles, the fumble the snaps, minus plays. Got to stay away from that.
Pressure coming. Ball is out. Flag is down as there's a fight for the ball. Looked like Patrick Chung and Boinoy were falling on it.
And what a rush by Kyle Van Noy. We talk about this guy, a linebacker that can be in coverage. He can play the run, but his ability to rush the passer, to be a situational player for this Patriots defense, outstanding.
Holding. Offense. Number 62 is penalties decline. The result of the play is a fumble recovered by the defense. 1st down, New England.
That was Patrick Chung with the fumble recovery as Van Noy came after Anderson.
And 73 tries to short set him there, Dawkins. But Van Noy dipped the inside shoulder, the left shoulder, got underneath and turned the corner, and then the awareness to hit the elbow. You don't always have to knock the quarterback down to get a sack. Hit the elbow, ball comes out, sack fumble.
Dawkins, left tackle there. He had no punch. Kickback, he's a good, young, talented player, but Van Noy, you know, that's the thing, Boog. You talk about his versatility. He started at middle linebacker today.
Yeah.
And then comes back and rushing the passer off the edge.
And now they have to ask more of this defense. Rock somehow able to secure that.
Tight coverage. And what a catch. His ability, watch him here. He goes over top of Gaines. He tracks the ball. Did he get that left foot down? I think he may be out.
Well, yeah, the whole key is going to be when did he gain control?
I don't think he got it, guys.
Now they're getting to the line. It's a 1st and goal, and now the whistle blows after the 22-yard reception that they will take a look at. Did he get that foot down once he had firm control?
Buffalo is challenging the Louisville field of a completed catch.
One.
We'll get the result when we come back. So the ruling on the field stands as a completed catch. Watch this.
It's incredible,
when does he gain control, and then look at the foot right there.
I mean, his ability at his size to track the football like that, and that was good coverage by Gaines. He does it in every single game, it feels like. At big moments, he makes catches like that. Phenomenal play.
1st and goal. White. Maybe a yard there.
But the thing that separates Gronk from a lot of tight ends is he comes back right there, and in that play, he's going to come in motion right here, and then he's going to block the defensive tackle. It's called a wham play. You're going to see him come in motion after making a big catch to come back and block a defensive tackle, going down on all fours. That's why he's one of the best complete tight ends in football and has been for a long time.
2nd and goal. Brady looks left, stays that way, and puts it into the turf. It'll be 3rd and goal.
He was looking for James White there. White had a little option route there, and Brady just couldn't get it to him. He had him. He just could not get it to him. They almost viewed James White catching the ball as an extension of the run. He wanted him out in the back, out in the flat. White came off the zone coverage. Brady couldn't get it to him. If I'm the Buffalo Bills, I pay special attention right now to James White.
You don't see James White, bro. You don't see him miss it very often. That cover 2, there's a nice little hookup area, and he ran out, and Tom really wanted to hook up.
And they finally break through with a touchdown. 3rd and goal. Brady has to burn it. Kyle Williams was coming after him.
I think they're going to get him for not intentional ground, and probably a hold against New England.
Yeah, those guys are holding up front.
Offense, number 77. This pull is declined. Bring it up, 4th down.
And a nice job by this Buffalo Bills defense. Gronk makes the big catch. We talk about them bending but not breaking, keeping this offense in the game. Sean McDermott's defense stepping up big right there, getting pressure on Brady, forcing a field goal try.
How many times have we said this tonight? Settling for a field goal. They had a 1st and goal at the 7. Now a 25-yard attempt from Gostkowski. He started the night with a make from 25. Now, Gronk put them in great position. It was an amazing catch.
You know, though, in those situations, it's so hard for Buffalo because it's tight coverage. It's just, I mean, what do you do? The guy's just big, and he's athletic, and he's unbelievable with his radius making these catches. He did it in the Kansas City game at a critical time. And when he does this test, it's hard to defend. But give the Bills defense credit. After that play, the big play, they were able to get a stop.
And he's a hometown guy. He grew up in Williamsville, New York, just about 15 miles northeast of Buffalo. No, he's played like Superman throughout a lot of his career. The little PJs there. Of course, the 5 brothers, the hockey jerseys in full effect growing up. A lot of pro sports careers in that group. Graduated from Woodland Hills High School in suburban Pittsburgh after 3 years at Williamsville North High School, and then moved down. What's your call on that high school photo there? Guys, if we could get the chance to put that up again, I'm sure Boog is going to have a comment or two.
Well, it's nothing wrong with a high school photo. We've all taken some bad ones.
12-6. So the turnover, New England only cashes in 3 again.
And if you're Buffalo, from an offensive standpoint, your defense is playing their hearts out. They're keeping you in the football game. This is a one-play game. So if your offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, just continue with your game plan. Why don't you come back with the Wildcat? Come back with things that have worked. Derek Anderson was a golfer about a month ago. Now he's trying to lead you to a win against the New England Patriots. Make him comfortable and see if he can get it done.
A scratch golfer who said he wants to play in the U.S. mid-amateur and qualify for the Masters as his goal. He went from that, playing in a tournament the weekend of October 9th, to signing with the Bills, and now their starter. As Ivory tried to keep his balance out to the 29-yard line.
And look, I mean, Daboll tried to, he ran in on that last one to Ivory. They got a first down. He tried to come back with that play action. He knows it's going to be hard to go on these long drives. So he tried to sneak one on a play action, sack, fumble. Right, so now what do is, I think you got to go back to that formula of underneath, running the ball, quick throws on crossing routes, and hope that these guys can do it with the run after catch.
Second and 6 as he finds Zay Jones.
That's it right there. By motioning Clay across, he becomes the number 2 receiver. So Jones is the 3, and he gets isolated on the linebacker. And that's exactly what they want to do in that situation, because Roberts, it's tough for him to match Zay Jones, somebody with that quickness in the slot. So good job matching that up. Just with the simple motion, created that matchup. Now you come back with the running game, I'm assuming.
Oh, play action off of it, as he had Roberts coming in on him.
They were going to try to come back with a little screen there to Shady McCoy. Might not be a bad idea to get Shady McCoy in space. He's one of the most elusive backs in the league. The screen play might be something they need to employ here in Buffalo.
But that formula is working. Running the ball inside, short intermediate routes. You cannot put Anderson in these situations, because now it's 2nd and 10, right? And you're going to be fighting. You know, people say like, oh, getting 3rd and manageable. No, you want to get first downs on 2nd down.
Ivory the lone back, and he'll get the carry here on 2nd and 10, and he spins ahead to the 50-yard line. A little more manageable for 3rd down.
That wide zone scheme running right there. Good cut by Ivory. He's just so physical between the tackles. It's a good combination between McCoy and Ivory, what they do, because McCoy's really on the edge with what he does.
Final seconds counting down here to the 4th quarter as they will head in that direction. This Buffalo team coming off their 3rd blowout loss of the season, but a defense that has played the Patriots so tough, especially in the goal-to-go situations. Just a 6-point game as we head to the 4th.
Up to date? Hey Siri, show me football standings.
Now those standings would show you the Patriots 5-2 and the Bills at 2-5. Yet here we are starting the 4th quarter with a 12-6 game. Bills have lost their last 6 Monday Night Football games. And they've got the ball just short of midfield, a 3rd and 3. Anderson, can he convert? Nearly picked off, defended by Roberts.
You know, Anderson saw Clay going on that motion, and nobody went out with him. But trust me, that New England defense, they weren't just leaving him unaccounted for. As you see there, Roberts pushes out late, and Anderson, he hasn't practiced a lot, so he hasn't seen it. Said, oh, nobody went with Clay, I'm going to throw it there. Well, Roberts came late, kind of predetermined that was where he was going with the ball.
Yeah, Roberts should have picked that. That should have been a touchdown for the Patriots.
Edelman with the fair catch. USAA and the NFL pay tribute to our armed forces through the salute to service. Lawrence White, the older brother of Patriots defensive backs Jason and Devin McCourty, was a corporal in the Army from '89 to '92, served in Operation Desert Storm. McCourty twins often talk about Lawrence being a father figure when they were growing up. First part of that Patriots defensive backfield. Quickly to Edelman, and he's tripped up by Julian Stanford, who is playing middle linebacker now with Edmonds out of action.
You know, I talked about the play actions that come off with the pull in the guard. Now they're just going to run a quick screen off of it. They always keep you guessing. So they got the big play action, they got the one-back power, and then they run screens off of it.
Only bring 4 against Brady as he's able to find Edelman.
Shaq Lawson bringing a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a holding penalty.
Holding. Offense. Number 68. Half the distance to the goal. Replay. Second down.
That is on Waddle. You saw him limping up at the end of that.
If you just tuned in, this Buffalo Bills defense is playing outstanding. Against the run, Cordero Patterson trying to run up the middle, trying to run outside. Has no success either way. In the pass game, getting pressure on Tom Brady. He's an iron deal on the front line, make him move off the spot. It's 12-6, and the biggest reason is because this Buffalo Bills defense is playing outstanding football tonight.
And now after the penalty, it's 2nd and 16. Brady looking to extend here and then checks down to White, who tries to get it back to the 20-yard line. Shaves 11 off of that, a more manageable 3rd down.
And give Tre'Davious White a lot of credit there. He covered Josh Gordon the entire way on that action. And Tom Brady extended it. He was looking for it, but he had nowhere to go with that ball.
And this is a big 3rd down for the Buffalo Bills defense. Where are your pass rushers? Jerry Hughes, Lorenzo Alexander. You're going to have to get some pressure on Tom Brady on this critical time.
And the 2 linebackers lined up inside in that area because you don't know what they're going to do. I expect one of them to come and the other one to drop, bringing some pressure.
One did drop on 3rd and 5. Brady. What a great throw and the reception by Edelman to move the chains.
Yeah, and really good call by Josh McDaniels. He gets Hogan on the... He gets Edelman going in behind, and he gets Hogan underneath, and it puts Gaines, the corner, in a tough spot in that situation. Just like that. There goes Hogan, and he jumps up, and as soon as he goes up, Tom Brady's just too good in that situation. Good call, and I like how Hogan just delayed it a little bit.
It's 2 yards that time for White. As Gaines makes the tackle, along with Milano.
And I just love how New England has a plan. They come back with the big pass play, and then there they come back with their favorite run. One-back power. Josh McDaniels being patient. Hasn't been their night on offense, but they're just trying to methodically put together a drive off to a good start here so far.
Only 47 rushing yards for McDaniels' offense. And nearly picked off by Milano. Matt Milano has been so active tonight.
Yeah, he's really responded. You know, he had a tough game last week in Indianapolis, but you know, he's a tough guy coming from Boston College. Good awareness. He's played hard. He's got good speed. He would like to have that one back, make that play. But you know, look, you referenced how good this Buffalo defense has played. There hasn't been a more important down than right here because you cannot allow New England to make this a 2-possession game here in the 4th quarter, knowing Derek Anderson on the other side. They need to stop.
Here's the chance. 3rd and 8. Brady underneath, makes a man miss and then gets the 1st down. That was Julian Stanford who whipped on White.
James White in space. I talked about finding that soft spot. You're going to see him go. He sees the underneath coverage, and then there. He comes back underneath. And this is a small thing, but Tom's ability to see the coverage and then get the ball out quick, it allows White, it affords him the opportunity to have some run after the catch and get the 1st down.
And Patterson back in the backfield, and he will carry it yet again. And this time, here he goes. Best run of the night for Cordero Patterson.
Boy, do they when they get you on the ropes. It's so hard to do it. Watch Julian Edelman on the outside. They're just going to run the wide zone, leading with the fullback inside. Edelman getting the cut block on Gaines. And now they're in field goal range. That's where it's so critical. And they had him in that third down situation.
Well, that's the thing they do. They're players that are used to catching the football, Edelman and Gronkowski. They're not afraid to block, and they do it very, very well.
He's in the I formation now. 7th time he has lined up in the backfield tonight.
Now they go left with it, same play.
And that time he is drilled back by Milano. Those gold-plated bottoms of the cleats went for 22 yards previous to that. Last week he was the speed burner who had the big kickoff return in that thrilling game in Chicago.
Guys, understand what the Patriots are doing. Let's not gloss over this. They have a returner/receiver playing tailback tonight, and he's doing it well. The unselfishness of this team coming through once again.
They are thinned out at running back. And White, of course, utilized mostly as a great and excellent receiving option. Not a workhorse type. Hogan.
Went to the back shoulder. You know, he may got a little bit of a push off there. We'll see it, but they don't call it on him. You know, Tom Brady, though, in this situation, he understands that's the one-on-one. Plays over the top. Gaines does. Hogan's a good awareness. I talked about it in the beginning of the show. Trust. Trust is the #1 key. That's a go route. See how he turns there? He saw the same thing that Tom saw, forcing the back shoulder throw.
1st and goal. Nothing but field goals until this. Touchdown run for James White. And what a well-managed drive that was by Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom took it down there. That situation, being able to hook up with Hogan and tight coverage. You saw it with Gronkowski, then Hogan, and then letting White go through to it. So now you're in this situation. You're up 12. Of course, you're going to make it try to make it 14. Going for 2.
10 plays and 85 yards. And now trying to make it a 14-point margin.
Watch Edelman coming in.
And it is intercepted on the 2-point try by Stanford. And then a fight for the ball at the end of that.
How about Tooney jumping in there, though?
2-point conversion is no good.
It's a no-good conversion attempt there. Brady was excellent on 3rd down on that drive. Jonathan Kraft, of course, brought the Patriots back in '94. Since then, the best winning percentage in the NFL. I think a great owners up here in Buffalo as well. Terry and Kim Pagula, who are so critically important to this community. Tom Brady leading the Patriots on that touchdown drive. Failed 2-point conversion, 18-6.
You know, and you see Josh. You see Josh and Tom talking there in that situation. I mean, they've been together for so long. I mean, 15 of Tom's 19 years. He's been on the staff, Josh has. And, you know, Josh started out as a defensive coach. And Bill Belichick does that in a lot of his guys. So they learn the other side of the ball. All the little details of that. And then when they switch, they're better coaches because of it. And you see Bill Belichick, one of the best things he does, he coaches the coaches. He demands a lot from them. And you see it paying off.
It's just the trust, the relationship they've built over a long time between Belichick, McDaniels. We remember Josh McDaniels was going to take the Indy job, then he changed his mind. I think it was because the relationship here in New England is special between McDaniels, Belichick, and Brady. They may not always get along, but they know they work well together.
And the ownership and Mr. Kraft as well, Bug.
Yes.
But think about that. I mean, and how Belichick grooms these assistants. I mean, it'd be like me telling you you're going to go play offensive line for a couple years and see how they block you and how they use their hands. But, you know, I had a coach one time early in my career who was really a defensive coach, and Paul Pasqualoni, and he knew the defensive side of the ball. And it was interesting to have him for a year because I learned a lot about defensive football.
There's Coach P, now the defensive coordinator for Matt Patricia with the Detroit Lions. Well, there had to be a point when the Patriots would break through, and they did it on that extended drive there. We've been told that we are down to 6 officials now on this crew, as an official had to come off the field. Let's bring in our rules expert, Jeff Triplett, who spent 22 years as an NFL official. Jeff?
Yes, Tess. They're going to 6 men here because they took one gentleman off to the locker room back there. So there will not be but one person on the back deep. They eliminate the back judge in the middle of the field to put 2 guys up on the line of scrimmage. So 2 guys deep, 2 on the line.
There's Anderson as he threw it just a bit behind Holmes. The flag is down, and it's back at the 17-yard line.
Holding. Offense. Number 25. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
You know, New England brought a blitz there and forced Shady McCoy to step up inside and be aggressive and physically block, and he gets called for the holding. But that touchdown that the Patriots scored, here's what it did, guys. It's forcing Derek Anderson now. He just can't hand it off. He's going to have to throw the football down the field to try to get the Bills back in this football game.
Bills offense that, in the course of the last month, was shut out at Green Bay, had 13 points against Tennessee, 13 points, 5 last week, and, of course, Derek Anderson at quarterback in just his 6th start since the beginning of 2011. 1st and 20 after the penalty. As he drives it underneath to Jones.
Just think about that. 3 of their 5 losses, they haven't scored a touchdown. You know, and here they are tonight in a similar situation. I mean, look, and we talked about the quarterback, and they have to be better. And I don't know if they managed that the best way going back into even to August, potentially even the draft. You know, there was talks about them trading up to the number 3 spot, and the Jets moved in there quicker for Sam Darnold. And who knows? I mean, but Josh Allen, the injury, getting him back out here. But these receivers, they're not getting separation. They're not helping Derek Anderson.
This Bills offense has scored only 1 touchdown in now the last 14 quarters. 2nd and 14. Once again, he's just going to go underneath this time. Phillips, you know, and this is a young roster. Keep in mind where they are in their growth and development and what they're doing of transforming things here. 3 players drafted before 2017 are on the team. That's the fewest in the NFL. Kyle Williams among them. So 40% of the roster are 1st or 2nd year players. 40% of the roster in their 1st or 2nd year in the league.
That's a lot. I mean, and it's a rebuild. And Sean McDermott's doing a good job. In first year, he got him into the playoffs. That epic win in week 17.
And as much as we talk about some of the younger quarterbacks, think about what's going on in the league right now. As he gets it complete. And that was a good throw that time by Anderson to Jones. But just consider what is going on in the league right now. As much as our attention may go to some of the rookies and the 2nd-year quarterbacks who are having success, the veteran guys dominating these division races.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk seeing these 4 rookies go top 10 picks, and they got bright futures, certainly. But you know, let's not forget about those old guys, Aaron Rodgers, and you know, look at Drew Brees, got his team winning the NFC South, and Tom Brady, of course. Alex Smith's got the Redskins at 5-2. Ben Roethlisberger. These guys are playing at a high level.
And take a shot, but it's far to the outside of Benjamin. Now here are the veterans.
I mean, look at some of those stats, Tess. It's incredible. The high level they're playing at, not turning the ball over a ton. They got their teams in really good positions at the halfway point.
Rams at Saints next week. So you'll see one of the young guys in golf with the 8-0 Rams at Drew Brees and the Saints. Are the Rams going to get to Mexico City unbeaten? Do they get through the Saints and the Seahawks before they get that ultimate showdown with Kansas City?
Look, that Saints game is going to be a big game, but Good call.
Here's McCoy on the screen, weaving his way for what should be a first down.
And that's what they have to do. You have to manufacture offense when you don't have a number one weapon in the passing game at wide receiver or tight end. Who are some of your best players? Shady McCoy. How do you get him the ball in space? Throw him a screen pass and allow your most elusive weapon the ability to create in space. Nice call there by Brian Daboll.
You know, Sean McDermott said that one of the reasons why he brought Daboll in here was because his game management and awareness. And that's one of those situations. You really want to stretch the field, not throw a crossing route, but do it with the screen pass and then take your chances.
Anderson showing you that arm and finding Charles Clay. 22-yard reception there. We're seeing a little bit of a spark from Anderson.
He's standing in the pocket, does have a big arm. Being able to stretch the field vertically, a little up-tempo maybe possibly in these situations.
And when we talked to Coach Belichick, the one guy they mentioned from a receiving standpoint for the Bills was Charles Clay. He feels like he can be a weapon against his defense, so the Bills may need to use Charles Clay a little bit more in this passing game, Will.
Anderson going to the end zone. And Jones couldn't haul it in. Jason McCourty had covered.
And it's a good job by McCourty. We always talk about when you're a DB in one-on-one coverage and you're going against a receiver, look back, turn, look for the football. Now you understand how and when to play with your hands and your athletic ability. Too many young DBs don't turn their head around and look for the ball. Nice job there by McCourty. Turning, leaning, and looking.
In this situation, you really need to get a score. That's obvious to say that, but you can't keep this a two-possession score.
They go with a muddle look, and now they bring the tackles back in. So they went with a pod look to come out before bringing it back in. They pick up the pressure downfield. Wow! What an effort by Jason Croom! My, oh my!
They put both tight ends on the outside here to get the safeties in coverage. They see that it's man-to-man. It's an answer for Anderson to see it. He likes that matchup better than the corners on the receivers. And what a catch.
Does he get it, though? Oh, that thing hit the turf before he ever had control of it.
Somebody get that man an Oscar for that acting job.
You know, I love the one-handed catches. I mean, I'm a fan of it and all that, but, I mean, I'm telling you.
The previous play is under review.
And this is going to be a quick look at this review. They were celebrating for the moment. It's back to a 3rd and 10 now. It was overturned, ruled incomplete. Jason Croom's effort there in the end zone. Sean McDermott and the Bills have been outscored by 37 points in fourth quarters this year.
Yeah, and Jason Croom, he had the matchup on Chung, and at the top of it, you're going to see it right there. You got to fight to get that right hand back off there. He's a smaller guy you're going against in a safety. Don't just go up with one hand. I know it's all pretty and sexy, but get that right hand, make that catch or two.
A lot of finger pointing. A lot of flags out there for being down an official, too. I think everybody unloaded the pocket with their penalty flag.
False start. Offense, number 85. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Now you got yourself in a 3rd and 15. It goes back to that Jason Croom potential catch. That was the matchup. That's why they sent the tackles out to see what they were going to do. And then you get that look, and you get the smaller guys on seam balls. You really want them on that inside shoulder. That's exactly where you want, because then you can use that elbow like we were talking about earlier. But you got to get that backside hand in to make that catch.
Intercepted. Devin McCourty in stride, running past lineman. Anderson with a blocker in front.
The Patriots are so good when they get in the red zone area. And Anderson, you know, he had a 3rd and 15. You're going to see him there. Here's McCourty. He's going to come across, just reading his eyes. Bill Belichick says he's a smart football player. It's cover 2. Anderson stared at it the entire way. And he was thinking he had to get it all on that 3rd down, when really, with the situation being what it was 4-down territory.
The Patriots had gone 40 games without a defensive touchdown. That was the longest streak in the NFL. Devin McCourty just changed that. Big time. McCourty's first interception of the year, and boy, was it special.
Yeah, this is just an unbelievable call. This is too deep safety right here, right? Most of the time, these guys play inside leverage. Instead, on this one, they play outside. And watch him drive on it. And the reason why they play it outside is because they tell him, show the 2 look, and then right here, he's going to freeze it. And instead of playing back, he's driving, that he's the inside help in that situation. You don't see 2-man with the inside guys playing outside leverage. They had Gilmore, the single cornerback on Benjamin, on the outside. They said, hey, he can man that. So we're going to show this look. And then, McCourty, you go underneath to the strong side. What a coverage.
And just like that, it's 25-6.
And I think what they did is they took advantage of Derek Anderson, guys. A month ago, he wasn't even thinking about football. And now you put him in this situation and you show him a complex coverage. The 2, he thinks he can get the ball down the seam. It's man to man. McCourty reads his eyes. The inexperience, not from a veteran quarterback, but from a guy that hasn't played football recently.
But going back to Bill Belichick here, and I know, you know, look, football coaches are really geniuses. This guy's a genius now. I mean, to call that coverage and say play outside leverage and 2-man, people don't do it. And tell the backside safety to cut it because you got Gilmore, who you like being on a one-on-one matchup. Incredible.
As he connects with Holmes. It's been one of those years when it comes to the passing game for Buffalo. Those quarterbacks have 3 passing touchdowns, and they've thrown 2 pick-6s. Come back to this side to Ivory. And who knows when Josh Allen will return. The rookie, the number 7 overall pick from Wyoming. He's been nursing that elbow injury. There is young Josh. He has so many physical tools.
Yeah, and I mean, think about him. I mean, if they lose tonight, they'll be 2-6. He can get healthy. It's going to be a great opportunity for him to get reps in pro football because he played in junior college. He played at Wyoming. He needs live reps to get better. We know about his strong arm and his athleticism. He just needs to play.
There's Charles Clay. You know, give us the skinny on Josh Allen.
Well, it starts with his athletic ability. I mean, that's what Sean McDermott said he liked a lot. You know, he was around Donovan McNabb. He was around Cam Newton. Being able to make some plays with their feet and then big throws. But here's where he's trusting his arm a little too much. You cannot throw it up in the National Football League like that. So he's a talented guy to be that big and that athletic, but he trusts his arm a little bit too much. And, you know, he's never been a 60% completion percent type guy. So you think about accuracy in those moments.
Well, that was the big concern as a draft prospect, was the accuracy. I mean, the arm talent, everybody went nuts over. And then what I love is just kind of that spirit about him, that desire. You saw the hurdle against Minnesota. I mean, keep in mind, this was a team in week 3 that pulled that upset at Minnesota, 27-6. 3rd and 2 is well beyond Clay.
But he fits the system here in Buffalo. I mean, you talk about grit and toughness. That's the way he plays. That's the way he carries himself. He fits what Sean McDermott wants to do. So he needs to just get healthy. He needs to play a lot, especially in a year like this, to have it where, you know, they're struggling right now. So he can see it. And as he experiences it, he'll get better and better and better in those situations because he does have that athletic ability and to create it with his legs, especially in this environment. It's windy, it gets cold. That big, strong arm will help him.
And I understand him fitting this environment, guys, but here's my one concern. He's been an inaccurate quarterback in college, and so far in the NFL, he's pretty much been the same guy, a 55% completion guy. I just don't know if you can teach accuracy in the NFL with your young quarterback.
No, all the young quarterbacks have been struggling with completion percentage this year. Showed you that stat line earlier and comparing the 4 top quarterbacks drafted. They're all under 60% completion percentage this season.
And Boog, to your point, I think the counter I would have to that is this. Yeah, accuracy sometimes, you know, you can work fundamentals and technique, and you know, other guys have it, you know.
Right.
But the thing about it, you can improve it. You can prove it. And the thing that I want to see from him is, can he process information quickly? And that's the thing is, as he gets these experiences, processing it and seeing it will allow him to be able to throw it to the open receivers. By waiting and hesitating, guys are covered. So that's when he starts to get exposed a little bit. And the only way you're going to fix that is through experience and learning from that, being able to process that information quickly.
You know, and I would love for Buffalo to get him a young target, a #1 target on the outside. I do not think Kelvin Benjamin is that. I think if you're going to see your young quarterback develop, get him a #1 target to see what he can do.
That's an incompletion on 4th and 2. So it'll be a turnover on downs as Gilmore came up with the play defensively. You know, the Bills sitting here with 6 points. Obviously, they've been struggling offensively, but the rest of the league is on fire offensively. In fact, players and offenses have been breaking into that NFL vault where the record book is kept. 48.4 points. That is right now on average setting a record. Yardage, 727 yards per game. Passing, 504 per game. All on pace for the highest numbers through 8 weeks in the NFL. Well, we had a long conversation with Tom Brady last night as Cordero Patterson continues to get work at running back. And I think Tom would have stayed with us all night long discussing the way he evaluates right now the game and the players and what's entering the league defensively, the lack of open field tackling, the generation of all the 7-on-7s, and just the lack of defense that we're seeing compared to what he said. He said, listen, when I was playing at Michigan, I felt I was already playing pro football with some of the defensive players on my team and in college football.
Yeah, Tom's an old school quarterback. He said, you know, I remember when it was tough to throw for 300 yards passing. Now it's like every week guys are throwing for 300 yards. And he said, you know, a lot of it's coming in. Guys aren't tackling very well. Their coverage isn't as good as what it was. And, you know, I think he referenced going against Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas. Sure. And he said they fly around the yard and made it tough on you. He goes, now you're just not seeing it show up. I don't think he's complaining, though.
No, not at 41 years old, 19 years in the league. But obviously the game, Boog, has changed dramatically during his career span.
Well, and a lot of the rules that the NFL has now is geared toward the offense. It started outside. You can't be as physical with the wide receivers. You can't be physical across the middle. The enforcers, the John Lynches, the Ronnie Lotts, they couldn't play in this day and time. And so I think the rules are geared more toward offense. But to Tom Brady's point, defenders are going to have to learn. You can't hit anymore. You're going to have to tackle. And I think when they get that process of information in their head to do that, defenses will play better.
Of course, over the course of Brady's career, Patriots have averaged 28.3 points per game. And that is the highest team scoring average for any starting quarterback since 1960. And this offense was hitting its stride before this game here in Buffalo. Tonight, he had in the defensive touchdown to get them to 25 points. Last week it was special teams contributing as well. They had the punt block that got scooped and scored at Chicago, the kickoff return. I'll give credit to the Buffalo defense for the most part tonight until that one long drive by Brady capped by the James White touchdown.
Yeah, I really like Sean McDermott. You know, I went against him in Philadelphia for a long time, and he was defensive coordinator. He started out as defensive back coach. And, you know, he had success last year. Now, but he said, you know, it's still a rebuild. He talked about the roster and the turnover. Hopefully with this young quarterback, they can develop him and add some weapons. With this type of defense, they'll have a chance.
Well, next week we are going to be down in the Metroplex, as we will have the Titans and the Cowboys And that means the debut of Amari Cooper. Of course, Cowboys trading with the Raiders. 2019 first rounder to get the young, talented receiver. Both those teams were on the bye week. Both of them sitting at 3 wins. Titans have been playing those close games this year. 5 of their 7 games were decided by 3 points or less. Had a chance to visit with Mike Vrabel this weekend. We're talking about that a bit. But it is back to business for Coach Vrabel and the Titans down there as Cooper will make his Cowboys debut.
And Tess, I can't wait to watch that because they got Dak a #1 receiver. And now you can find out, can Dak be that quarterback long term?
Anderson downfield. How do you think he's going to fit into that offense?
Well, I think having this week to be able to get caught up with, okay, this is the system with Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett and what they're trying to do, so that he can go out there and not have to think so much, just play ball. But look, they needed somebody that could stretch the field. And there's a lot of talk of, was it worth a first rounder? If you're Cowboys, you look at it and say, okay, if he can get us over the hump and win this division, get to the playoffs, it's probably worth it. But if we don't, and this is a top 15 pick, it probably wasn't worth it. But they believe that Amari can do that for them. I think it puts a lot of pressure on the offense and Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett to take advantage of it.
Anderson will check down to Shady McCoy, splits defenders and gets out near midfield. 18 yards there. A lot of coaches would cringe as to how he holds that ball, wouldn't they?
Oh, man.
But Shady's always done that.
I know.
Even when you go back to his days in Philadelphia, he's always had that ball kind of loosely. But he doesn't fumble a lot. I think that's the thing you have to, as a coach, you say, don't do it, don't do it. But if you're going to do it, don't fumble.
Look, there's an old saying, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. You see on these throws, even when they hit these guys, how tight the coverage is. When I was watching Buffalo on tape, and I said this earlier, that a lot of talk on the quarterback and how they have to play better, and with what they got going with Josh Allen and trying to develop him. But the receivers do not get separation at the top of the route, so everything's a tough throw.
Anderson taken down. As we're coming up on the 2-minute warning, it means we're 2 minutes away from exactly the halfway mark of this NFL season here. I wonder who your midseason MVP would be. I'm going to ask you guys that when we return here to Orchard Park. Now, 2 young stars in the league, Mahomes and Gurley. Midseason MVP. Who you got?
All right, kidding me? It's got to be Patrick Mahomes. 26 touchdowns through 8 games. He's on track for 52 touchdowns. It's off the charts. The way he's making these plays, though, we called his game earlier in the year. Week after week after week, the way he plays on the road in New England doesn't matter. This guy's a star.
I think the Monday Night Football music just changed to the Mexico City edition. Those two are going to be meeting up on November 19th. 2nd and 22. Taken down again and taken down hard by Kyle Van Noy. And Anderson is still down.
Yeah, Marcus Murphy just completely missed that block on the blitz. You can see Murphy go in, and he just lets Van Noy go right by him. He turns around.
Yeah, they got Nate Peterman over here right below me warming up. Looks like he may have to come in for at least 1 play.
He's had 2 games this year, 1 start, 4 interceptions. Mahomes or Gurley?
Joe, for me, I'm going Todd Gurley. He's the best player on the best team in football. He's leading the National Football League in yards from scrimmage. We talk about Jared Goff and all the weapons, but the guy that makes the Los Angeles Rams go is Todd Gurley. Their ability to run the inside zone, his ability to catch balls out of the backfield. I think when you're the best player on the best team, how could you not be the MVP? I'm going with Todd Gurley with.
I disagree with you, Boog, but here's what I will say. I did love the fact that when he got down in the red zone there yesterday, he took the knee. He wasn't worried about fantasy points or touchdowns.
You see the way that Anderson is holding that right arm as he was taken off the field by the medical staff. Yeah, that was a team play there. He said, hey, don't worry about fantasy football. Don't worry about the stats. We're about winning right here. And that's what the Rams have done to move their mark to 8-0. So there goes 35-year-old Derek Anderson. And we will have the 10-second runoff with an injury in the last 2 minutes here as Nathan Peterman will be in there facing a 3rd and 32. Minute 25 remaining. He was the star at the beginning of the season. And then his poor play gave way to the rookie Josh Allen. And then, of course, Allen got injured. As he will just connect here with Kroom. It's been that kind of year when it comes to the quarterback position for Sean McDermott. You signed Derek Anderson on October 9th, and now he walks off the field with an injury. 4th and 18 as he goes underneath to McCoy. Only able to get 10 there.
Yeah, and I think here's the deal for Buffalo moving forward. This is year 2 of the program for Sean McDermott. He's made of the right stuff. You know, I saw him on Saturday wearing a military hat with the Buffalo Bills logo on it, and that kind of represents who he is. That's his approach, toughness, grit, defensive mindset. He brings that mentality, very honest with his football team. He went and got his quarterback, who they believed was the guy.
Yep.
And he got athleticism and big arm. They missed on the Benjamin trade. So now they got to go get a wide receiver or 2 to give him some weapons. The defense is stout, and they'll get this thing rolling up here in Buffalo.
Hoyer comes in to take a knee, but Brady has done it again against the Bills and the fans, a.k.a. the Bills Mafia, who love when they tailgate to table crash. Well, Brady has been table crashing his entire career against the Bills. This is now win number 29 against the Bills, the most by any quarterback against any one team in NFL history. And 15 wins here at New Era Field, the most by any visiting quarterback at any one venue in NFL history. The most wins in Buffalo during that span. And that includes Bills quarterbacks as well. 25-6 is our final. Next week, we're going to have Marcus Mariota and the Titans going up against the Cowboys. Zeke Elliott and Amari Cooper's debut with the star on the helmet. Stay tuned for the GMC post-game report on SportsCenter. For Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters, I'm Joe Tessitore, inviting you to enjoy the rest of your evening, including time with SVP to preview what is coming up on SportsCenter.
Joe, thanks. Remain close for much of the game. The Patriots break it open late. We'll hear from Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Plus, Klay Thompson joins the show. What advice did he get from Steph Curry as he was chasing Steph's record? And Monday means bad beats. Todd Gurley has no time for your fantasy team either. Show starts in 3 minutes.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.